Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
You know, when these owners say, hey, we don't make that much money, well, sell your team. Why would you own a team and you don't make any money? You do make money. We don't know how much money, but you make money. And look, you have every right to make your money, but don't plead poverty here. There's no trust. This myopic view of right now. This is about the long-term health of this sport. The fans don't care about the numbers.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
Fans care about you playing.
Bringing you all the sports that choose to return.
Berger is back, and so is the PGA Tour.
I think that's where you say the PGA Tour is back, and Daniel Berger is your champion. I don't think you lead with Daniel Berger. Yeah, Tom.
Couldn't you have just said Daniel Berger? Well done.
Oh, okay.
Let's get out.
All right.
Go to commercial.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man
He
Cave.
cut the mustard.
There you go.
All right.
This is Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program. It's hour one on this Tuesday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Glad to have you on board. We'll talk to the NFL Players Association president. He plays for the Cleveland Browns, J.C. Tretter. He'll join us coming up. Mark Grace, former Cubs, Diamondbacks star first baseman. We'll get his thoughts on the Sosa McGuire documentary. He was front and center. He was there at first base congratulating McGuire when he broke Roger Maris's record. So Mark Grace will join us a little bit later on. You can be part of the program in a variety of ways. Chat row, we say good morning to them. You can email, you can tweet, dial us up. You can listen, you can watch. You can watch on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. You can do all the above if you like. But come in, stay a while. Reports about positive tests for coronavirus keep coming up throughout the world of sports. And maybe the biggest active name is Zeke Elliott of the Cowboys. He was part of a report involving multiple Cowboys and Texans yesterday. Then there was another report about baseball players and staffers testing positive. Denver Nuggets head coach Mike Malone said he had the virus back in March. Several college football programs have had positive tests, including Alabama. It's the new reality of sports and really the bigger challenge that sports faces. Team sports, all about being together, obviously mentally, but more specifically physically. And players are closer together in the locker room, meetings, travel, and of course, on the football field, on the diamonds, on the basketball court. And we're seeing these long, detailed safety guidelines. They're loaded with creative ideas and obviously good intentions, but none of them completely jive with the reality of sports. And the recent test should be a subtle reminder reopening sports isn't going to be about perfection. It's going to be about trying as hard as possible to stay safe while doing an activity that isn't easy to control. We sent an email yesterday to the NFL. And the email said in part, we're wondering what exactly would happen in terms of protocol and steps over the next 24 hours if this was discovered, a positive test, on, say, a Saturday, the day before a game, involving one or both of these teams. And the NFL sent a note back, an email back. We are continuing to work on the appropriate protocols with the NFL Players Association in conjunction with medical experts, including our joint outside experts at Duke and the CDC. We will provide more information as it becomes available as we get closer to the start of games in the next couple of months. In other words, the NFL doesn't have a plan in place right now. If Zeke Elliott on a Thursday tests positive, he's done. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Now, keep in mind, if he doesn't have any, if he's not ill, if he tests positive, if he's asymptomatic, how long is he going to be out? How long is he going to be quarantined? Probably 2 weeks. If he has the virus and he has some kind of effects from it, he's going to be out even longer than that. And then the players that come in contact with him. So that was just one item here. The NFL has time to figure this out. College football has time to figure this out. The other sports don't. You got one shot to get it right if you're the NBA, if you're the NHL, even golf and some of these other sports, soccer coming back. You got one chance because all of a sudden, if you have one positive test or two positive tests, the number of people that you come in contact with, then you go back to Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz. And the NFL doesn't have a plan in place, but just imagine that. If, let's say 4 players would test positive on a Thursday before a Sunday game, they're out. And then those that come in contact have to be tested. You got to wait for the results. That usually takes 2 days. So the NFL is still trying to figure this out, and so is college football. But you're starting to see more positive tests in some of these states that were probably open for business sooner than some of the other states that were open for business. But we'll talk to the head of the NFL Players Association about these protocols that have to be put in place. But Zeke Elliott and some of the Cowboys and some of the Texans testing positive yesterday. Roger Goodell was on the mothership last night, and the commissioner talked about the possibility of positive COVID tests. Okay. We'll see if we can come up with that. But he talked about that they expect positive tests throughout, this next couple of months here. I just don't know what happens once we get to the season. And if you have somebody testing positive during the season. This program is brought to you by LegalZoom. You can start online. They have a network of independent attorneys. They provide advice when you need it. And since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you don't have to leave your home. Visit LegalZoom.com today for more information. Here is the commissioner from last night.
We expect that we're going to have positive tests. That's part of the increased testing that we'll be going through. That's something that we just want to make sure that our protocols are working. And I think to date, we're seeing very positive reactions in the sense of making sure that we respond quickly, protect the personnel that may be impacted by that, and others that may be in contact with them.
Okay. There's nothing they can do right now. I think you have to be purposely vague here. You got to be vague in what you're saying here because you just don't know. You can't say we're going to figure it out and, hey, the games will go on. Are you going to have a larger practice squad here? 53-man roster, you're going to have 60. How do the owners feel about that? So there's a lot to work through. But it feels like they have that time to be able to come up with that game plan. Not the same for Major League Baseball. And I'm not going to waste your time today because it feels like I say every day I come in, I go, okay, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. The commissioner was on the mothership last night, the ESPN Sports Center special with Mike Greenberg, the return of sports. And, see, I did it. I'm back in. Here I go. Last week, he was optimistic. This week, he's not. Now less than 100% confident about a return here. We're going back and forth here, and we're the collateral damage here. And I'm talking about we as fans. Because we're just waiting. We don't care about the money. We don't care about any of those other aspects. Just tell us how many games and when you start. That's it. And it doesn't sound like anybody has any answers here. And I know now the owners or the commissioner is blaming the Players and Players Association for leaking information while not taking ownership of all the other articles and emails and information that the owners and commissioner leaked prior to this. It's not pretty. And even if we do have baseball, mark my words, in 2022, we won't have baseball. We won't start baseball on time. This will carry over the next collective bargaining agreement, and I don't think baseball will start on time. That's why you have to look at the bigger picture here. And baseball has not. And I say collectively, baseball is not. This is about now, but it's about next year and the year after that and maybe a decade after that. You're losing fans. How do you get them back? How about you play? You could have taken advantage of this opportunity. The window of opportunity was primed and ready to go for Major League Baseball. And you go back to March when we started talking about this. When does baseball come back? Hey, maybe June. Articles were written, maybe June 1st. And they probably could have done it. But this wasn't necessarily about the virus. This was about the back and forth between the two sides. But the virus started this where you had questions about safety, health, and then it came down to the bottom line, which it always does, and it's about money. How much are you going to have me spend? How much do I have to spend to get you to come back? And that's why baseball is in this financial tug of war. And maybe if the commissioner forces them back, we won't have baseball in 2022. At least we won't start on time. And you will not get any cooperation from these players. You're going to make us come back. You're not going to pay us what you said you were going to pay us. Even though somebody didn't put any, like a lawyer didn't say, well, if there's no fans in the stands, then we have the right to alter this or change this. That seemed like a little bit of a big omission there by whoever your lawyers are with Major League Baseball. Nobody thought to say, hey, if there's no fans, then we're not making any money, then, we reserve the right to be able to change this. That didn't happen. But Roger Goodell was front and center last night as well with Rob Manfred, the baseball commissioner. And it feels like Roger Goodell, and I don't know this for a fact because I don't know Roger Goodell. He hasn't been on our show in 7 years.
Yeah, at least 7.
All right. But who's counting? Is he trying to save his legacy? I don't know how important his legacy is to it. But the Colin Kaepernick situation, it feels like is about his legacy. What has changed here? Kaepernick's gotten older. Have we gotten wiser? Now you have J.J. Watt, Baker Mayfield, they're going to kneel. Bill O'Brien, a head coach, is going to kneel. The NFL doesn't act, they react. And I think they're reacting to all of this. All you want to do is you're trying to figure out, can we still do this and have it be good for business? That's all they want to know. If people didn't have a problem with Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, the NFL wouldn't have. They were implementing rules to say you can't kneel. Now I got a head coach who says he'll kneel. A star in J.J. Watt who says he'll kneel. Now all of a sudden the commissioner, it feels like, is now petitioning teams to sign Colin Kaepernick. What's changed? Perception has changed. The landscape has changed. The NFL didn't have an epiphany where they go, you know what, on second thought, maybe we were a little unfair. Here is the commissioner last night on ESPN.
We should have listened to our players earlier. Our players, including Colin Kaepernick, including Eric Reed, including Kenny Stills, and so many others, Malcolm Jenkins, so many people that really brought these issues to light. And it actually predates and goes back to 2014 in Ferguson when Michael Brown was killed by police brutality. Our players have been at the forefront in bringing attention to these issues and really working to try to make a difference in the communities.
Okay. But why has it taken 6 years for you to open your eyes? And I always question, what's the motive here? And that's why I wondered how important it is for Roger Goodell. His father was a big-time politician back in the day. He stood up to Richard Nixon, I believe, during Watergate, Charlie Goodell. And I don't know if this is important or not for Roger Goodell. Because if you said, what's your legacy? You made a lot of money for the owners. But that's what he's paid to do. It feels like there's a part of the commissioner that's saying, do I just want to be known as a guy who made a lot of money for the owners here? Adam Silver is trying to do both with the NBA. And I think he's doing a pretty good job. Now, he's got to kind of navigate through this Kyrie Irving situation here, but it feels like Adam Silver wants to do the right thing, and it's not as much about the bottom line. Now, do I have my issues with how they handled Hong Kong? Yeah, I do. But, he handled the Clippers owner, Donald Sterling, but to me, that was a no-brainer. You went in and said, no, you're bad for business, you're a bad guy, but he did it right away, and he gained the players' trust. It feels like the commissioner wants to do the right thing in the NBA. And I think Roger Goodell, judging by some of his comments here, he's trying to do the right thing, but maybe he has to do the right thing because you don't want to be sort of left in the shadows as the players, coaches, media, like everybody is in front of this. They're out in front with this, and you're still in the dark ages. But the commissioner telling, he can take players off the field, and he's done that. Adrian Peterson, he's done that. Antonio Brown, he's done that. Ray Rice, now he says for the good of the game. Now he's going to put a player on the field for the good of the game? What has changed? Because Colin Kaepernick, remember, he couldn't play, or people had doubts about him. His last year, he rushed for, almost 500 yards. He threw, I think, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, threw 2,200 yards. But all of a sudden, he couldn't play anymore. And then the excuses came out. I don't know if the commissioner can say, hey, is somebody going to... I believe the commissioner asked Jeff Fisher of the Rams to draft Michael Sam. Late in the draft, Michael Sam, Gay, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. And when I had Jeff Fisher on, he basically said, well, he didn't say that commissioner didn't tell him, but he sort of, he was gentle with it and why they were drafting Michael Sam. Now, look, SEC Defensive Player of the Year, he didn't make it in the NFL, obviously, but still, it felt like the commissioner wanted Jeff Fisher to use a 7th-round draft pick on Michael Sam, and he did. I don't know if the commissioner can say, hey, the Texans, the Ravens, Chiefs, Chargers, hey, could you take Colin Kaepernick? I would take Cam Newton now because Cam Newton played recently. I don't know if Colin Kaepernick can play. He's 4 years removed from playing or 3.5 years removed from playing. I don't know that. But Cam Newton, to me, might get a job before Colin Kaepernick. But here's the thing. I think Colin Kaepernick would come back and be a backup quarterback. Cam Newton's not coming in to be a backup quarterback. If I put Cam in Jacksonville, he thinks he's better than Gardner Minshew, and he could be. If I put him in the L.A. Chargers, he thinks he's going to be better than Tyrod Taylor. Kansas City, he wouldn't be brought in there, but Colin Kaepernick could be brought in there. I need to have an established quarterback to bring in Colin Kaepernick, so he understands. You're going to come in, and we're going to reintroduce you to the NFL. And then maybe he gets a job the following year. But Baltimore, you got Lamar Jackson. Kansas City, you got Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if putting him in other places, because you don't want him to be the focal point. In Baltimore, he wouldn't be. In Kansas City, he wouldn't be. The Chargers, he would be. Jacksonville, he would be. I got to have an established quarterback if I'm going to bring him in, because I don't want controversy. I don't want people going, put him in. Let's see if he can play. Put him in. Lamar Jackson is your MVP. Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl. People aren't going to be calling for, hey, put in Kaepernick. If you put him in Jacksonville or with the Chargers, some of these other teams, you might get that. The Texans, you could bring him in. And talking to Mike Florio yesterday, that really feels like the place, because Bill O'Brien, coach GM, says he'll kneel, and you got Deshaun Watson, established quarterback there. And you got J.J. Watt, who said he would take a knee. That, to me, would probably be the number one team on the list. I need to have an established coach who's, even though Bill O'Brien not firmly cemented in that job, it doesn't feel like, but he's coaching GM. Harbaugh's established in Baltimore. He's got Lamar Jackson, Andy Reid in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. It's going to take that. I just don't know how much nudging the commissioner does. And how important is this to his legacy? We'll take a break. We'll check in with the head of the NFL Players Association, the president, J.C. Tretter. He's the Brown center. How does he feel about going into this season, knowing what he knows now? And then Mark Grace will reminisce on 1998, the great home run chase with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. That'll be coming up a little bit later on. We'll come up with a poll question, got a play of the day, stat of the day. We take a break. 19 after the hour. Glad to have you on board here. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. You check things all the time, your email, Instagram, check something important. When's the last time you checked your credit? And prior to Discover being one of our partners, I hadn't checked my credit, didn't know my credit. And Discover made it quick and easy, and it's free. You want to learn your FICO credit score. It's the score used by 90% of top lenders. It's free even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations do apply. I don't know why I'm fascinated by this, but I am. Mark Stein, NBA writer, New York Times, had an article. It says to the left, and he talks about left-handed players in the NBA. You know, James Harden obviously was asked about his left-handedness. He said, we're weird. I embrace it. We're different. And it's hard to guard us. So you got the MVP there. But when it comes to great left-handed players in the NBA, not a great group of left-handed players. Goran Dragic, 2 reigning All-Stars. They're good. Mike Conley's in there. Isaiah Thomas is left-handed. Ben Simmons left-handed. Joe Ingles of Utah. DeAndre Jordan of Dallas. After that, the NBA has been around 72 years. How many players do you think, just a rough estimate, are listed as left-handers who have played at least a minute in the NBA? It's a 72-year history, a total. How many left-handers have played in the NBA? Exclusive club. Fritzy?
I'm going to say 236.
All right. Paulie?
55.
55 left-handers total?
I don't know.
That's not good.
You said exclusive.
Seton?
Do you have a total number of players?
Yes, I do.
Did you give it to us?
No, you're guessing.
No. I mean, like, of all the players, so like righties and lefties.
No, I don't know how many players have played in the NBA.
Oh, okay. I'll say 150.
150. McLovin?
523.
McLovin, no. Seton, no. Fritzy, you're the closest. 267 players in the league's 72-year history are listed on the site as left-handers.
Fritzy has an advantage. He's left-handed. He knows all about that stuff.
And, yeah, he knows his club, the exclusive club. Yes, Seton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Seton.
Do you think there's a difference with a left-handed basketball player?
How many left-handed Hall of Famers are there? Bill Russell. Nate Archibald. Is Nate in the Hall of Fame? I don't know if Nate's in the Hall of Fame. Billy Cunningham, is he in? Bob Lanier, is he in?
Willis Reed lefty?
Yes. Manu Ginobili is going to be a Hall of Famer. Chris Mullin, Hall of Famer.
Tiny Archibald is a Hall of Famer.
Oh, he is. Okay. Jalen Rose was left-handed. Not a Hall of Famer. Can we find out how many Hall of Famers are left-handed? See if you can do that, McLovin.
Really? That's my assignment for the hour?
Did you find out, Paulie?
Yeah, I got some. David Robinson. I didn't know that. Forgot the Admiral was left-handed.
Yeah.
Bob Lanier, Harden, Archibald, Artis Gilmore, left-handed.
Yeah.
Chris Bosh.
Will be a Hall of Famer.
Yep. Lenny Wilkins, Gail Goodrich, Dan.
Yep. Played at UCLA.
Billy Cunningham.
Billy Cunningham. Loved the Kangaroo Kid.
Some of the other greats are Derek Coleman, great-ish, Willis Reed, Manu Ginobili, Dave Cowens, Chris Mullin.
Those are the Hall of Famers?
No, well, those are like they don't have a list of who's definitely in the Hall of Fame.
Oh. I thought that's what we were working on.
Still working on it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nick Van Exel,
Not a Hall of Famer.
Mark Eaton, Jalen Rose,
Mark Eaton.
Zach Randolph,
Not a Hall of Famer.
very left-handed.
Yes, very left-handed. Who's the most left-handed? Well, Harden might be the most left-handed left-hander. Although Bill Russell might be the most left-handed left-hander.
There's a great video you could find on YouTube. I guess Larry Bird said he was going to take all shots inside the three-point line left-handed for a game, and I think he scored 42, mostly left-handed. And he just did it as a bit with his teammates. You see him, he's got a right-handed layup, and he's just got it free, and he switches to his left hand and puts it in, and it's scary good.
That's arrogant instead of confident.
Wow. Yes, McLovin.
I love watching left-handed basketball. I thought Harold Miner was going to be the greatest thing. I am all in. Rodney Rogers, it doesn't matter. It's just beautiful to watch, I think. You ever play with a lefty?
Yeah, I did.
It's cooler.
Yeah. I don't know why their shot always looks better. This program brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT four-door coupe. Life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our interviews this week from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to the Dan Patrick Show app. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG driving performance. We'll come up with a poll question. We got a play of the day, stat of the day coming up as well. Phone calls are welcome, 877-3DP-SHOW. He's J.C. Tretter. He's the NFL Players Association president, and he is the starting center for the Cleveland Browns. Let's get to the important stuff right away, J.C. Thanks for joining us. How much do you think the commissioner weighs?
You're going to start with the hard-hitting questions. Questions early.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in one of the carnival positions of trying to guess birthday, astrological sign, and weight here.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably like 6'2". So I'd give him about 220.
220. Okay. Looked like he lost a little weight during the pandemic, but you could bench the commissioner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to know, JC. We appreciate you joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
By the way, I got one of the guys on my staff. He went to Dartmouth, and he knows.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you went to Cornell. McLovin, you want a shot at JC here?
No, I mean, it's just a shame he couldn't get in Dartmouth. I was curious, was he a hotel manager major or agriculture? Because I was an English literature major, right?
Industrial labor relations.
Oh, forget it.
Could you get into Dartmouth, though, JC?
I believe so.
Okay. Also, Dartmouth was your safe school.
Yeah, that was my fallback just in case things went really bad.
Yeah. All right. The Texans and Cowboys test positive, including Zeke Elliott yesterday. And it felt like the NFL, when we contacted them, they don't really have a plan in place if this happened during this season. What have you been told, or what are you telling your players about the safety guidelines that you're going to have once the season starts?
Yeah, I think that's why we've continued to work on it, and I think this is just a perfect example of bringing back to light that this is still going on, and the world has gone somewhat back to normal, and places are opening up, but this is still kind of out there, and what we've been doing as a union is just continuing to grind away at protocols and rules and guidelines that we need to put in place to make sure our players are as safe as possible when they go back. And I think you see that, football players are not immune to this virus, and we're not all in perfect health. I think people look at us like we're kind of robots or invincible, but we have players in the league with underlying conditions that put them at higher risk of some really negative results of this virus. And not only that, but they have family members who are immunocompromised or have underlying conditions that make them susceptible to this virus. So that all goes into play in trying to figure out the best way to keep everybody safe and healthy throughout this year.
The Players Association comfortable giving up all this medical information? If you're, I'm assuming, like the NBA players have to give up this medical information. Are the NFL players, you're going to have to do the same thing?
Yeah, we're looking through all that and kind of, what are the ethics around all these issues? And we've got task forces looking into, what needs to be shared, what are the players' choices, and just trying to figure out, what can we talk about, what can we share, and figuring out the best way. So we've had several task forces looking at a bunch of different avenues of kind of return to play. We've got looking at risk mitigation, testing. So we've had that going on for the last 2 months now, continuing to look at different things that we can do to keep people safe and trying to break it up into each avenue as we approach our normal start to a season.
Do you think we're starting on time?
That's a tough question. And I think it's tough because you see how quickly things can change. You kind of look, we're about 6 weeks, month and a half away from our normal training camp start date. And you look back to what things looked like a month and a half ago, and then a month and a half before that, and you see how much different things look in just 6 weeks. So I think it's irresponsible to speak in any definites that far in advance. I think we've continued to look in short, intermediate, 2-week bursts, and we've got the virtual offseason that we negotiated has been extended till June 26th. So our guys know what they need to do and what they're responsible for until then. Some teams have begun closing down and ending their virtual program early. So guys have gone on to their break like they normally would. But our guys know at least for the next 2 weeks what they can do, and then from there we have to continue to work and continue to keep these guys prepared and safe.
He's J.C. Tretter. He's the NFL Players Association president and the Cleveland Browns center. How much dialogue has come up with in the Players Association about Colin Kaepernick?
I think this whole all the issues, and it's been going on for years now, is a constant conversation. It's been going on in locker rooms and then at a union level. I mean, that's why when the NFL tried to unilaterally impose new rules and guidelines, that's why we filed a grievance to fight that, because we're not going to allow people to infringe on our players' rights. So it's been something we continue to fight for. And Colin, I think it should be clear to everybody by now, he's out of the league not because of a football issue, and not because he's not capable of playing football. So we hope, and we've continued to push for him to be back and be brought back into the fold, and be signed by a team, and we hope that happens.
But you also have these, now your quarterback Baker Mayfield and J.J. Watt, Bill O'Brien of the Texans, they're saying they're going to take a knee. I know it's fast forwarding into September, but what are the sidelines going to look like? What do you think the sidelines are going to look like?
I don't know, but I think luckily this conversation has continued, and at least people are starting to understand that no one who was kneeling before was it about anything with the military. No one said anything about that. It was always fairly clear when you asked them the question of why are you kneeling? They talked about the systemic racism, police brutality, and racism in the country, and that's why they were bringing awareness. And I think people have started to understand that more, and that's become a more widespread understanding. And you see the people now becoming more comfortable about talking to that issue. And I think it's great about guys raising awareness for issues they're passionate about. And that's something, as players, it's promoted. We have a week every year for My Cause, My Cleats, where we go and get shoes, and the media talks about all these stories and all these issues that we're passionate about and want to bring awareness to. And this is another issue guys want to bring awareness to, and it shouldn't be, well, don't talk about that issue. No, if this is an issue guys are passionate about, guys should be able to bring awareness to that issue.
And I think it's Justin Jackson from the Broncos who came out and said, we wanted to raise awareness for this back with Kaepernick, and we've raised awareness. Maybe you don't need to try to do that with the anthem. Is there another way? Like if you graduated from that to something else, for the lack of a better description here, for the entire NFL Players Association, is there another level to this? Because you got eyes on you. Kaepernick got eyes on him, Malcolm Jenkins, Eric Reed, some of these other players. Now, where do you go from here, I guess, would be my question for anybody involved in this.
Yeah, I think those are conversations that are going on, and trying to segue that awareness into action and into change. And that's kind of been the goal of raising the awareness, getting the eyes on it, and then segueing that into tangible things that can make these issues better. And I think we're starting to see that. The Players Coalition has been very active, and I think teams are starting to get behind that. Almost every team I've talked to, the players have said they've had team meetings throughout this offseason dedicated to these issues. We've had in Cleveland, we've had guest speakers come in who are very involved in these issues to share their knowledge and their perspective. So I think people are starting to get more involved in not just raising the awareness, but affecting change in communities. And that's a great thing to see.
His initials, JC, stand for Just Cash. JC Tretter. What if you said if I didn't watch the Browns last year, and I said what happened? How would you describe what happened with the Browns last year?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of different directions being pulled at, and I think what's been nice with the addition of Coach Stefanski coming into the fold is there's a singular focus on the work that has to go into it, and there's no worry about what expectations we have or what people think we're capable of or not capable of. It's solely about every day putting the work in. And I think that's a change that was needed to be able to come in and have everybody just focus on getting better every day and not worry about everything that's going on the outside, not getting involved with everything going on in the media, and just focus on playing football and playing it at a high level.
Baker Mayfield says he's not talking this year. How long is that going to last, JC?
I think Baker's been great this offseason. I think he's been a true leader of the team. He's been great during the virtual program. And again, you just see him continue to take steps to establish himself as, the face of a franchise and a leader in the locker room. And he's been the leader since he got here, and he continues to mature and take that role and move forward with it. But he's been great. He's been going into different meetings and being involved beyond what you'd expect.
But do you think that he could actually be quiet?
I mean, he has so far.
Yeah, but he hadn't played yet. He hadn't been criticized for anything yet.
That's dry. I mean, I think there are some people that continue to criticize him even when nothing's going on.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But those are
so I think he's been criticized, but I think I'll believe him. I trust his perspective at this point of just want to go out there and prove it on the field. And I think whenever Baker gets that chip on his shoulder, I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah. Did you ever just say, "Shut up, Baker"?
Well, Baker's one of those guys. He's a chippy guy where, we go after each other all the time just in fun. But he's one of the best guys in the locker room where he likes giving it, but also he can take some criticism and take some shots and not take it personal. So he's been fun to mess around with.
McLovin, do you want to place a bet? Cornell versus Dartmouth, November 14th. You want to put something on the line here?
Well, I'm assuming Dartmouth will already have wrapped up the Ivy League title by then. They might sit some guys.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, Cornell also, do they really need their first team against Cornell? I don't.
JC, response?
I mean, I'm willing to, you threw out the wager. I'm willing to listen. I've been in more contact with my guys back at Cornell recently, and I'm excited to see what they do.
How about, let me see.
How about he has to wear a big green Dartmouth jersey in a post game of whatever week that is, like week 10. He has to wear a Dartmouth T-shirt in the locker room for the post game interviews.
Okay.
And I will wear a Cornell helmet on the show.
So he'll wear a Dartmouth or a Cornell helmet for 3 hours on the show, JC. I think
that sounds fair.
You have to wear a Dartmouth jersey the entire week. And you have to bring up Dartmouth that entire following week. You always have to make a mention of Dartmouth football.
Jay Fiedler, Buddy Tevens, all those names.
Is that fair enough?
I have to wear this shirt for the entire week.
Yes.
I think that's a little too much. I will wear it for one day, your choice, whether it's Sunday after the game or any day throughout the week. In any media that week, I will always give a reference to Dartmouth.
JC.
Or Dartmouth.
Okay. Yes.
JC,
yes, McLovin.
Don't negotiate with me. I'm not the NFL. I'm not going to roll over here. I know your tricks.
This is great practice.
All right. I think we got it. I think we got the battle lines have been drawn here. Now, all of a sudden, I care about Dartmouth and Cornell. JC, good luck in the offseason with everything you're navigating through. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
That's JC Treader. The JC for Just Cash. That's not true, right, Paulie?
I think it's Joseph Carl Treader.
Okay, JC Treader.
Yeah, Joseph Carl.
All right. We'll take a break. Back with our play of the day after this. Father's Day can be tough, but I've got a couple of tips for you to make it go a little smoother. Tubing can be a whole lot of fun for your kids. But you know what? It can be a whole lot more fun for you when you get to send them flying off. Celebrate Father's Day by shopping in-store or online to make sure you find the perfect gift for Dad.
So today is National Play Catch Week. It's the third week in June is National Play Catch Week. Who doesn't love that? Now, there's actually a website and a guy who has the play catch movement. He's got a lot of information about how even if you don't want to play baseball, But playing with your kids, playing with a friend, playing with your dad, whoever, a pal.
And he's just assuming that that's the phrase that we should all go with. We've had that debate before too.
So his website is this, and he's trying to promote it and trying to get it going. Which brings us back, Dan, to the very powerful moment in Field of Dreams, where Ray Kinsella, peak Kevin Costner, says to this baseball player, who is John Kinsella, he realizes it's his father, "You want to have a catch." Yep.
We had problems with have a catch.
A lot of people say have a catch, but it's much more of an old-time term.
No, you play catch.
Really?
See, I'd
ask my 5-year-old to play
I've always
catch.
have a catch.
Let's go around the room. When you were growing up, play catch.
Have. Definitely.
Have a catch.
Have a catch.
I was arching. I didn't play archery. I didn't ever have a catch with my dad, unfortunately.
You'd have to catch it to have a catch.
Right. I threw it a couple times.
It would be strange to ask another.
You had a throw.
Want to play throw? I'll catch.
Wouldn't it be strange to ask a teenager or an adult you want to
I called
play
it
catch?
chasing a
Sounds
baseball
like
when my dad threw it.
Have a catch.
Yeah, I called it chasing a baseball. When my
There
dad
was nothing that would get my older brother more annoyed than when we were having a catch and you overthrow it, or you underthrow it and it skips, and he'd have to run down the road to go get it.
the road, yeah.
Or he would be like,
Goes
yeah,
rolling.
because you're out in the street. There's no baseball field.
Cars
around.
are coming.
Car.
And he's like, you overthrow it or something. He's like, dude, you go get it. I'm sick of running after
Can you
it.
go back to the previous picture?
Of course.
Because that ball looks like it's ticketed for right between the eyes there.
It's a little underhand, just getting loose.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit high for the little guy.
Yeah.
I just worry he might be taking one right in the noggin.
See, I think they should have put the ball right here
there.
and lost the 0.
He's also got to teach his kid the basic.
Or you could have done it above the eye.
There you go. Even better.
You're also taught at a young age above the belt. He gloves up here, below the belt. He's got it down there for a ball that looks like it's going to be on the upper part of his body.
That's a Willie Mays basket catch, I think, waiting to happen. And John Krasinski, who knew?
Yeah, Krasinski, big play catch guy.
Yeah. How did Carolina get you? Like, who finished runner-up for you?
Well, my Final Four schools are, how about this? Florida State, rivals, and Duke and Carolina, rivals. So it just made it tough. But, at the end of the day, what I was looking for, they all had some qualities that I was looking for. But at the end of the day, you walk into the Dean Dome, and it's just hard to say no to that opportunity. Coach Smith is a very convincing man. He was for what I was looking for as a student athlete. As far as just educators, I come from a family of educators. My entire family are all educators. Put it that way. They're all teachers of some sort, and that was important not only to me but my family as well. So he really stressed that. He really harped on us as I'm in college. He harped on us knowing our teachers by their first name, not just their last name, and sitting in the first 3 rows. Little things that probably as a student or let's say an athlete in general is something you don't like to do. You like to sit out of the way and just kind of do your thing and be done with it. But he required that, and they made sure that we were doing so. And he would pull you in and say, "Okay, so what's your science teacher's first name?" And you're like, "Yeah, I expect you to know that in the next 2 days." So little things like that. He just taught us responsibility and just taking onus on our careers and our lives. So we had great conversation leading up into my decision, and it just felt right. You wake up in the morning, he's like, you know what, that's where I'm supposed to be, and that's what happened.
Oh my God!
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day. Check this out.
Seaver with a pause, the check and the pitch. He bounces to first base. Dreesen has it. He goes to the bag, and Seaver's got it. Tom Seaver has pitched his first Major League no-hitter, and this one belongs to the Reds. Seaver is being mobbed at first base.
Hall of Famer Marty Brennaman with the call. Tom Seaver pitched his only no-hitter. That was on this day 42 years ago. As a member of the Cincinnati Reds, won 3 Cy Youngs during his Hall of Fame career. Play of the day brought to you by Raycon. Buy Raycon.com/Patrick. You're going to get the best earbuds out there. Get 15% off your Raycon order. You're going to want to hear your music, not your roommate or your family's music. Raycon wireless earbuds, the way to go. Buy Raycon.com/Patrick. Poll questions today, McLovin. What are we thinking about?
Okay, we talked about this. If I could give you one of these two options, I can guarantee some sort of MLB season and playoffs, or I can guarantee no hitch in the NFL season. Otherwise, you roll your dice with either of them. Which one would you take as a sports fan?
I'm going to guess they're going to take football, but I would roll the dice with the NFL and have baseball come back.
Because you feel confident NFL is going to be able to do this. What about this positive test thing?
Well, once again, if I say where were we 3 months ago and where are we now and where are we going to be in 100 days from now? And the NFL can always take the first month of the season and put it on the back end of the season and still have room and time for the Super Bowl. That would be worst case scenario, but that's not a bad scenario to have. If you're not able to start on time, if you have positive test, you're going to have preseason games coming up in August. We're going to know where the NFL is coming up a lot sooner than you think. What else, McLovin?
Who do you blame more in Major League Baseball's problems, the owners or the players? And the reason I ask this is I sense that there's much more animosity towards the owners in this round than there's ever been in a labor problem before. They're being vilified in the press. I don't know if the average fan cares.
I don't know if the average fan cares. Here's what I was thinking yesterday after the show. Why do I care? It feels like more than Major League Baseball cares. Like the fans care about this, and it feels like the owners and players are saying, hey, all right, well, whatever. I mean, they care about the money. I get that. I just care about the sport. I don't know if they care about the sport. They care about the money. And, that's the disconnect I think you have with fans. The fans are just saying, hey, sort it out. But why don't I get Tony Clark, the head of the Players Association? God, I'm talking about this thing again. The commissioner and the head of the Players Association in the room together, and how about you have a mediator? And how about it's just like a marriage, counselor, therapist. Hey, you're saying this. Well, you said that. Okay, let's come to an agreement. Let's start to close the gap here a little bit because it's widening, it feels like. Yeah, see.
It's almost like if you tweak those words a little bit where the fans care about the sport, the players and the owners care about the business.
Yeah.
Right? And that's sort of the disconnect where you just want to see the game. You just want the sport back and you just want to watch the game. You don't really care who's getting what cut of what money, but they do.
Yep.
They definitely do.
Oh, and I understand it. If I was involved, I would understand that. But the people who are leading have to understand what is going to be best for the sport. You may take a hit now. You may take a financial hit now. You may be criticized publicly. But we're going to look back on this day or these times, and we're going to see how these commissioners handled these issues, this pandemic. Adam Silver, I think history will be very fair to him and kind to him with what is going on right now in his sport. Gary Bettman with the NHL, the PGA Tour. I don't know, baseball, with what's going on, history's not going to be kind to Rob Manfred. And you can go back down through history. Bud Selig, for every great thing he did, what's he remembered for? We had 1 year where we didn't have a World Series. Bowie Kuhn, he was ripped for a lot of different things. He forced Hank Aaron to play in a game, making sure that he wouldn't, when he was going to break Hank Aaron or Babe Ruth's home run record, he'd always wear his big trench coat. History wasn't too kind on Bowie Kuhn for a variety of things. And Bud Selig, we remember that. Pete Rozelle, when the NFL played that weekend, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, the following weekend they played football, and he regretted it the rest of his life. You have these moments where we look at a commissioner and say, what did you do when you actually had to be a commissioner and take ownership of something and be responsible here? And I think that's what we're going to do with Rob Manfred. History is not going to be kind to Rob Manfred. Yeah, Paulie.
Yeah, but I wonder if the owners think of it the same way. Do the owners look at Adam Silver and say he's doing a great job, or do they say, look at how he handled the China situation and that's costing us millions? Do the owners look at Roger Goodell and say what he's doing right now and talking about getting Colin Kaepernick in? I wonder if they think Roger Goodell is doing a good job this week. I know that's different than what the public thinks.
Well, the owners just want to make money.
Yes.
Their bottom line is, hey, we don't want to upset our fan base. They care more about their fans than they do their players. I think everybody would be in agreement with that. But I go back to what happened with Adam Silver in Hong Kong. That wasn't his fault. That was Daryl Morey who had a tweet that he sent out. Adam Silver, says we're getting out of here. They've lost all that money. They lost billions. China hasn't come back. They won't be coming back with the NBA anytime soon. But I think the commissioner was saying, we cut our losses. We literally cut our losses, and we come back home. I didn't like how, it was handled, but I understand why it was handled that way because they're talking about billions of dollars here. Yeah, McLovin.
If I'm a baseball player, I would strongly consider, if I'm a pitcher especially, I would consider sitting it out. But you're only making a fraction of your pay for a championship that won't be considered a championship. It's different than NBA and
Yeah, but you have a lot of these players who don't make a lot of money.
Right, I'm talking about the high end, especially the pitchers who are not going to want to risk their arm.
I get it, because it's going to be all about pitching when these teams come back. And how often are you using these pitchers? Because if it's a 50-game schedule, your pitching staff's going to be more important than it's ever been. And the deeper your pitching staff is, you're going to be one of the favorites. But yeah, I understand that. But there's a lot of these players are making $600,000, and that's going to be prorated. You might be making $200,000 to come back. Is it worth the risk to come back? And I don't know. And that's every individual has to speak on that. If Mike Trout doesn't want to come back because he doesn't want to get $7 or $10 million and his wife is pregnant, I understand. It's everybody. All the individuals should have a voice here. And if you don't want to come back, then don't come back. Adam Silver has said if you don't want to come down to Orlando, you don't have to. He's not, it's not draconian where he's, saying if you don't come back, you risk. He's just saying if you're not comfortable. I think Adam Silver said Orlando's not for everyone. He's at least trying to understand the other side. Baseball doesn't feel like they're trying to understand the other side. And I can say that about the players as well. Football, they got some time here. Figured this out. Jason in California joins us. Hi, Jace. What do you have for me today?
Hey, what's up, DP? What's up, fellas? Good morning.
Jason. Morning.
6'1", 187. Hey, I just want to talk about my disgust with Manfred and baseball as a whole. It makes me sick. I mean, I wasn't really optimistic because they kept pushing it back, but now whatever they negotiate or this season, I'm over it. I'm done with it. I don't really care. I know each guy has their own issue with pay and family and this and that and their health, but Manfred has to be the worst commissioner I've ever experienced of being a lifetime sports fan, and I don't know. The only way to bring fans back is steroids, juice balls, and cheap beer. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you, Jason. You might already have that. Yeah, Paulie.
I may vote for that guy for commissioner. Juice baseballs, free beer. I'm in.
And steroids.
Yeah.
I think we have all of those, except for the beer's not free. That's it. What else do you have, McLovin? We're going to stick with...
we have a side topic. Do you like fast food? Yes or no? We're having a fast food conversation. Paulie claims to be anti-fast food, but I tell you, getting off the plane, it's like a beeline to see him go to Shake Shack in the airport.
Well, at the airport, there's not a lot of mom and pop restaurants to choose from. Sometimes you have to do what the best is available.
And also, is In-N-Out fast food? Or Five Guys fast food?
Are you going to do this? Because this is where Seton gets yelled at.
Yeah, I know. I want to get it. I want to throw him under the bus.
Well, there's fast food and then there's quality fast food.
Oh.
I'll let you figure out which one they all belong in.
Wow. There, he's back. Here we go.
Five Guys, number one.
Mark Grace, former Cubby, will join us. One more. Hi, Chris. How are you? Hey, Chris, congratulations on you and Mike. That was a lot of fun last night.
Thanks, pal. Unbelievable crowd. Mike's actually here still sleeping it off. Wait a second. Hey, dog, I'm going to knock you out in a second. That's why dog and I can't do a show together.
Are you guys getting back together?
It's, listen, the Beatles in there was always rumors about them for 9 years about getting back, and we could do this every month, get some good guests on. I think we've got it, we've got it back to where we want it right now. I spoke to Mayor Giuliani this morning. He was happy. We couldn't get John and Susan up from Florida, Sterling and Woolman. That would have been nice. That's things we could do in the future. And I think we could do this once a month, sure. Why not?
Well, did you have a favorite guest last night? Favorite moment last night?
I liked Van Gundy coming on with us. I thought that was excellent. I liked, like having Bobby V on. Bobby actually is still here with us. Hey, guys, how you doing? I just had a martini and a cocktail with the Ironman. Yeah, Imus, we couldn't get Imus on, but he's with us here. Quack, quack.
Shut up, Fatso. It looks, quack, quack. It is 20 minutes to the hour. Our Senator Santorum coming up in the next hour. I'm also going to talk to Lubrica coming up. This falls on the Republican primary in 2 weeks.
So we got him here. We got a couple of the nice young girls here from the update room. So we're having a nice little soiree here to post party. So it's been nice. How have you been?
I've been good, Chris. Thank you. Yeah,
Great.
Yeah, everything's good. Having fun.
Me and Mike are doing on the road. The road again. Just can't wait, dog, to get on the road again. Life is easy with my friends. And I just can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. Like a band of gypsies, we go down the highway. We're the best of friends. It's just that the world keeps turning our way. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Yes, Chris.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say thank you and congratulations on last night.
No. Thanks for letting me come on here. And again, we might be able to do the Garden next. The Garden of Dreams, a great foundation. We can actually do Madison Square Garden. We got a lot of people that actually couldn't get in that wanted to get in. We had a lot of tickets that we couldn't do. And I did a trivia question that nobody could get. I was asking, who was the first lady in the White House in 1966? No, it wasn't Lady. It was Lady Bird Johnson. Jerry West. Yeah, there's that dog. Dog does these trivia contests on his show now. I don't know if you know that, Dan. And nobody knows the answers, and he blows the gasket.
Thank you.
Dog's quite a cat.
Hey, Mike and Chris, thank you, and congratulations.
Listen, have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon, and we'll try to get Richard Simmons on with you later.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris. Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Patrick.
You know, when these owners say, hey, we don't make that much money, well, sell your team. Why would you own a team and you don't make any money? You do make money. We don't know how much money, but you make money. And look, you have every right to make your money, but don't plead poverty here. There's no trust. This myopic view of right now. This is about the long-term health of this sport. The fans don't care about the numbers.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
Fans care about you playing.
Bringing you all the sports that choose to return.
Berger is back, and so is the PGA Tour.
I think that's where you say the PGA Tour is back, and Daniel Berger is your champion. I don't think you lead with Daniel Berger. Yeah, Tom.
Could you have just said Daniel Berger? Well done.
Oh, okay.
Let's get out.
All right.
Go to commercial.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
He cut the mustard.
There you go.
All right.
This is Dan Patrick.
Wow, Paulie just dropped a bombshell on us here. We're talking about fast food and what constitutes fast food. We've had this discussion all morning long, on and off, about fast food and Shake Shack and In-N-Out. I don't know what else is under that umbrella, but McLovin loves Shake Shack. And then I said to Paulie, well, then what constitutes fast food? Does it have, like, how fast does it have to be if you're going to have fast food? And Paulie then dropped the bombshell.
Well, fast food almost has to have a drive-through. That's what makes it fast food. That's part of what makes it fast food.
Wait, you're now modifying that. You said you can't have a drive-through.
You have to have a drive-through to be classified as fast food.
Okay.
Like seating like Five Guys. That's not the fastest fast food. There's deep lines. It takes a while to get their meal together. It's high-end fast food. That's like a special category. It's a newer, cleaner looking, nicer feeling, much more expensive fast food.
Right. There's a lot of things against Five Guys in this category because it's not fast, it is expensive, and it's good. So that should take it out of the fast food category just on those three things alone.
Taco Bell is classic fast food in every way. You eat it late at night, drive through. It's very, very, very cheap. Chipotle is like corporate fast food for corporate lunches.
Yeah, McLovin.
They don't have drive-through at Chipotle most places. So
Nor do they at Shake Shack.
No, but those are fast. Chipotle is fast food, in my opinion.
It's new age fast food, right?
There you go.
Like McDonald's, fast food.
So then is Dig In, is that fast food? If Chipotle is, so Dig In is like if you don't have it in your area, you sort of go through that same line where you wait and then they'll get you a bowl of food of whether it's like I'll take the farro and the chicken and the broccoli or whatever. And you go through it. It's just I think it appears to be more healthy fast food.
Dig In, not fast food. Though they move the line really fast, there's way too many choices. There's too many people involved with it. Fast food, there should be a speaker where you can't hear the person. That always a good sign of a classic fast food.
So you're just going based on nostalgia, really?
No, speed, cost.
But how fast is fast and how fast is not fast enough to be fast food?
I guess there's categories of it. But like McDonald's and Shake Shack are not in the same category.
Yeah. I would agree with
it's just it's a different.
I haven't had Shake Shack. I've never had Shake Shack.
Chat Row. I almost said Chat Row.
Whoa.
Someone just said the term fast casual, which is maybe a whole other category that we might be talking about.
Yeah, we're opening up.
Fast casual.
Yeah, McLovin.
Chick-fil-A fast food, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one, too. Have you had that recently?
No.
Oh, man.
But Chick-fil-A has the novelty of it started in the South, and you had to be in the South to get it, which made it kind of like a niche that you aspire to get.
Did we solve anything here?
No.
I didn't think so.
What was your favorite fast food growing up, Dan? Or what was the one by your house where you're like, Dad's putting us in the car, we're going to get a bite?
Well, that never happened.
Oh.
And my dad's dead, so why are you bringing this up, Paulie?
You never
I'm the
did
only one who
McDonald's?
can.
You guys didn't do McDonald's as a family, or?
Oh, we did,
Yeah.
but there was never where Dad loaded us up and said we're going to McDonald's. That never happened, unless it was our birthday and that's what you chose as your meal. Yes, Eden.
Yeah, see, it was like a special thing. Like last day of school, let's go to McDonald's, and we'd be like, oh my God, this is the best. We're gonna get a Big Mac, or like my dad would always get a fish fillet. We'd be like, what? But he never wanted to get a Coke there because he's like, why? We have it at home. Why would we get it here? And you're like, dude, no, come on.
There was a McDonald's across the street from ESPN, and I remember going over there with somebody, and he ordered quite a bit of food and didn't need to be ordering quite a bit of food. And then he said, and I'll take a Diet Coke too. And I went, like, why bother with the Diet Coke? You just ordered the left side of the menu here. Yeah, Paul.
There's some fast food places that are only in certain areas, like, Fat Burger, Whataburger, those kind of places. There's a place called Culver's, a smaller chain called Culver's. I think it started in Wisconsin, and they have ice cream and really good burgers. And they put like a pat of butter on the burger, which is a big thing in Wisconsin. But you can't find them for the most part unless you're in Wisconsin. It's a real tease.
But that's not fast food.
It is.
Do they have a drive-through?
They do.
Then that's fast food. Yes, Todd.
The original chicken sandwich at Burger King is really good. And the fact that they have onion rings, that's something to consider. As good as the McDonald's French fries are, Burger King onion rings.
When's the last time you had fast food?
A couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't have, about 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's just when you came back to work because you were at home back then.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't. Now that I'm out already, I made a questionable stop after putting gas in my car.
Well, Fritzy does that all the time, though, because he won't eat lunch, and then you'll stop and get fast food on the way home.
Which is a big mistake.
Yes, you do.
And Jersey Mike's is awesome, but that's not a drive-through situation, so that would be off.
Is Subway fast food?
Yes,
but there's no drive-through.
There is now. Not all of them. A lot of them have drive-through.
Oh, very few have drive-throughs. Very few. Yeah, McLovin.
Burger King has a new plant-based burger, Dan. Maybe we could entice you.
Oh, no, I've seen the commercial, but I haven't been to Burger King. Seton, last time you had fast food?
Man, it's been a lot. Within maybe probably a calendar year for sure.
Yeah.
But I can't even remember the last time.
Paulie?
Maybe 10, 12 years. Like Taco Bell, Burger King.
Yeah.
Probably 2005 or 6.
Sort of the core four there.
If you're looking at those.
Wendy's?
I've had Shake Shack, but maybe 4 years ago.
It feels like Paul is just removing the places he likes from the fast food conversation so he could be like, I don't eat fast food.
Yeah.
It's been about a decade.
McLovin?
Shake Shack this weekend. The kids love it.
Yeah.
But also I used to go, there's a Wendy's near, especially where the old man cave was.
Yeah.
And I would drive home and I'd get chili to go and a Diet Coke. You know that Wendy's. So yeah, that was my go-to. I think you can eat a little bit of healthy stuff there and be fine if that's a concern.
Jamie in North Carolina. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Dan, 6'4", 215. I'm a chef here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was just thinking, I don't want to bother anybody by what they call this fast food 1 or fast food 2 quality, but I would say that Five Guys is a little bit step above just because they take whole potatoes, cut them, soak them in water there, fry them. They take burger meat, they make it into their burger mounds and cook it on the grill there, whereas like Burger King, McDonald's, they just take frozen stuff, let it sit out, and then throw it on the grill.
Yes,
it's like another step.
Yes, Eden.
It is interesting because, and I kind of agree with this because, right, Five Guys is a place that uses actual real food to make their products. So, right, they actually use potatoes for their French fries, and they actually use actual beef for their hamburgers. Yeah. So, yeah, that should remove them from the fast food conversation.
All right. Well, thank you, Jamie. Steve in Florida. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Dan, again, honor privilege, 6 feet, 180. The best fast food is got to be White Castle. I was brought up to it in the city. Now I'm down here chilling in Florida, and it's great. And, that's all I wanted to say. You guys are great, man. What can I say about you guys? Hall of Fame, all 4 years,
Well, thank you, Steve. There's 5 of us. But who's not in the
Who's
Hall
not
of
a
Fame?
Hall of Famer?
Oh, man.
Boom. There you go, hour 2.
Okay.
Who's not a Hall of Famer?
Well, I'm going into the Hall of Fame.
You're a real Hall of Famer.
I'm the ceremony hasn't happened because of the virus. I couldn't do that. It was supposed to be at the end of the month. Yes, Tom.
I think I'm solid but improving. I'm going to get there. I'm trying to catch up
out
to
of you
guys.
4 guys, who's not a Hall of Famer?
At what?
I don't know. Steve said, hey, you 4 guys are Hall of Famers.
I think a better question is, who is a Hall of Famer?
Well, 3 of you are, apparently, if you're joining me. Yes, Eden.
I think it's probably me who's not the Hall of Famer because most people have absolutely no idea what I do here, and they're like, "Why is he even there?"
Yeah,
so
but
I'm going to say me. Although I have a great laugh. Okay, I get a lot of mileage on that, but other than that, not really a lot that I can hang my hat on publicly.
That'd be like saying you're Draymond Green to the Warriors. It doesn't happen without him.
And I'm very unlikable too. So
yeah,
that's
Draymond.
fairly good.
Kick people in the groin occasionally.
Yeah.
Yes, McLovin.
I want to change the subject here. So the Hall of Fame was supposed to be at the end of this month. I still have not heard any. What's your Hall of Fame induction was supposed to be at the end of the month? You never talked about us coming down. What happened there? Were we going to be invited to the Hall of Fame induction? I was curious.
Well, they canceled this a long time ago.
Right.
But I don't know. I didn't even want to go. I don't want to get up there and blab on. I don't know. I don't know.
You could do a Jordan roast everybody.
No. I don't want to do that.
You're great at those speeches. Though. It would have been awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to be roasting people up there. Yeah, but I don't know if we were going to go or not. I don't know. It's in North Carolina, and I don't know. Yes.
If there's a pay your own way thing, that might cut down the attendance quite a bit.
All right, well, I know the back row's not going.
Well, I was assumed that we were flying private on your dime. That was assumed.
No. Oh, it's going to be private from your bank account, your private bank account.
Private zooming in from our house.
Yeah, there's no jet involved in this.
Costas isn't flying down sitting next to us again?
No, we're not affiliated with AT&T or NBC anymore. This is my money, my dime. If I said you guys had to fly yourself down to North Carolina for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony for me, who is paying to go down?
Oh, I'm definitely paying to go down, Dan. I wouldn't miss it for the world, bud.
That's the right answer,
you go.
Seton.
That's the answer you give when something's not happening.
Yeah. So I'll remember that.
Hey, buddy, I'm right there. I am definitely paying my own way to go there.
Next year.
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Next year at the ceremony.
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
I can count on Seton. Paulie?
What he said.
Fritzy, there is no way you're paying.
If it's a nice hotel and a buffet dinner involved, I'll take care of the flight.
No, you got to pay your own way.
Everything.
Yes. You're not on scholarship. Like you're a grown-ass man.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing I would go to.
That's debatable.
You're a grown...
Something.
Yeah.
According to my age, I'm a grown man.
Yeah. Yes,
That's about it.
Forget the money. Now, what size plane do you get on to get there? Because I have a little issue with those small
prop
planes.
planes, I don't like.
Yeah, it's a prop plane trip for sure, right?
Well, no, we could fly into... I don't know how far it is from, like, Charlotte. We could go direct into Charlotte, and then we could take a car.
Why don't we take the Airstream?
No, we're not going to take the Airstream and drive down. Yes, Paulie.
Flights are cheap these days. New York to Charlotte, I can get you in for under $120.
Yeah, but the ceremony's not this year.
If you buy it now, the change fee is like $50. I think.
Yeah.
You got to have us at that speech.
I don't have to.
What if you have jokes at the beginning? We'll
No,
guarantee
I'm
a
not
laugh.
Fritzy. I don't need somebody to laugh. I don't have to, invite my fans so they'll laugh.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Okay. Well, if you don't need a laugher, then...
But whoever goes gets to come on stage and say nice things about me. Does anybody want to come on stage at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony?
Can we do a roast instead of saying nice
If you
things?
want to.
That's a whole
But
other
you
story.
are afraid you won't get back on stage, so...
Here we go.
Well, wait. If you get on stage and if you want to get on stage, you can roast me. If you come down, you can roast me. And here's the thing. Everybody wants to follow you because they know they're going to be...
Unfortunately, that's accurate.
Paulie's like, oh, I'm going right after Fritzy.
I'll do 3 minutes after Todd. Expedia right now, you can get a flight from New York City to Charlotte. This is not joking. With taxes, hold on, $34.68 round trip. That's less than a tank of gas.
Charlotte's one of those airports, by the way, that's been under construction for the last 25 years. You ever notice that every time you land in Charlotte, it's always under construction?
But they have a Bojangles down there at the airport,
Yeah, they do.
which is high end.
Now, Popeyes is fast food, right?
Yes.
And then I just found out, I don't know why they couldn't afford an apostrophe for Popeyes. Okay? Like, that bothered me.
Because he does own the restaurant. Ownership. The apostrophe would be the ownership, right, Andrew?
It's Popeyes would have an apostrophe.
No, but it's not Popeye from the Popeye, right?
No, it's from Popeye Doyle from the French Connection.
Oh, it is? Okay.
I believe.
He loved Southern
Apparently,
chicken.
yes, he did. Red beans and rice.
Oh.
But it's Popeyes with an apostrophe. But it's not. I think the owner says he couldn't afford the apostrophe. I think that's his line there. But I was just curious about that. Let me see. I got people fired up to talk about baseball. You know, I'll get to those phone calls after I talk to Mark Grace, the former Cub great, won a world title with the Diamondbacks. I wanted to get his thoughts on 1998 with McGwire and Sosa because he was there. He was Sammy's teammate, and he was at first base when McGwire hit the home run to break Roger Maris's record, and he congratulated him as he rounded first. So we'll talk to Gracie coming up. Poll question, McLovin, what are we going with?
I already put up, if I could guarantee you one, NFL goes off without a hitch and roll the dice with baseball, or some sort of season and playoffs for baseball, roll the dice with NFL. It's pretty close, actually. 61% said NFL season without a hitch. I would have thought everyone would vote NFL.
My friend Teddy, who used to be in the restaurant business, he says quick service restaurants, McDonald's, Subway, Burger King, fast casual, Chipotle, Panera Bread, Shake Shack, casual restaurant, TGI Fridays, Chili's, and Outback. Ooh, I'm already getting some head shaking on the other side. Paulie agrees, Seton doesn't.
Mostly good qualifications there.
Oh, no, I agree with his qualifications.
Oh, I thought you were shaking your head.
Yeah.
TGI Fridays and Chili's, they feel like they're fast food. Even though they're not, you have to sit down.
They're fast sit down.
Yeah. Outback feels like it's a little bit more removed from that, I think.
Because they have a bloomin' onion?
Yes, they do. And I've never had the bloomin' onion. You're like, oh, you got to try the bloomin' onion. No, I don't.
There was a while, though, there where the Outback was a thing.
At ESPN, because we had no restaurants there. Yeah. People would be like, did you hear they opened up an Outback? It was like, oh, man, are you kidding me? We've got it made. I'm going to stay at ESPN another 15 years. Yeah, Paul.
I've always thought the voiceover guy for Outback is an American actor doing an Australian accent because it doesn't sound like a real Australian accent. Yeah, I bet if we did a deep dive, you'd find that out.
You're calling out the voiceover guy for Outback.
I am. Who's with me?
I'm not with you. I don't want to go against those people. I don't want them mad at me.
Why? What type of fallout are we expecting from Paul's controversial take here?
You don't know.
Barred from the premises.
You don't know. All right, we'll take a break. Did you check in with Mark Grace, Todd?
I did.
And he's awake? He's in Arizona.
He is awake, and he'll be joining us, I'm guessing, about 7-8 minutes.
Do I submit that entire last segment for the Emmys for next year, or do I cut it down a little bit? How do you want this done? The whole I think the whole thing as is.
How about we just record something? And then
something emotional?
Yeah. I don't. If you pay and you want to go, then you can go. But I don't know if I'm going to go next year. I don't know. I feel weird standing up there and talking about myself. Yeah, McLovin.
By the way, confirmed it is Popeye Doyle and Popeye's Chicken, which is to me the most bizarre thing I've heard all day. I had never heard that.
I know a lot of stuff, and most of the stuff is not pertinent to anything. But that's just another classic example of, man, he knows a lot of stupid stuff.
Hall of Famer.
Yes, I am. 19 after the hour, we'll take a stroll down memory lane with Mark Grace about 1998's home run chase. And I will get to the baseball phone calls because I want to ask Gracie about baseball and where we're headed here. Get his thoughts on that. 19 after the hour, this is the Dan Patrick Show. You check things all the time, like your email, your Instagram. Check something important. When did you check your credit last? Your FICO credit score. That's the score used by 90% of top lenders. It's free. You don't have to be a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes. It's called the Discover Credit Scorecard. Discover Credit Scorecard, he said. Free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. Last time you played Pebble?
I played Pebble. First off, I'm on Pebble every day I'm home. I take my son down to Neville's, which is a little halfway house, if you will, off the 10th tee. And we get one of those, Uncrustables, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and a banana. He loves that. That's a big father-son moment. We ride in the cart. We go down and see a lot of golfers along the way, stop, watch some golf swings, and we have that experience virtually every day I'm home. As far as playing, I don't play that much. I really don't. I want my time to be with my family. I travel so much that I just can't justify. I wouldn't feel right about it. I mean, I play occasionally, but I haven't played in several months. I want to come home and I just want to be around my kids and my wife, you know?
Okay. But you set me up last year where I fell for this sob story that you don't play, and then we go do the par 3 tournament. And then you won.
There's something about natural talent. You just can't, sometimes it's just going to come out, when the moment's
agree.
there. I hit one shot yesterday. It's my first golf swing of the year. We had the Pebble Beach Pro-Am $1 million shot for charity, which is a program that's going to air on one of your competitors, including over the weekend, leading into our third round coverage starting today. And it was a 100-yard shot. And we had Darius was there. I mean, everyone that's in the celebrity field was there. And at the end, after it all cleared out, my wife and kids were there, and they said, take a swing. So I took my first swing of the year. And it reminded me a lot of the shot in the backyard.
Yeah.
Because it was only 100 yards. Ours is calibrated with the golf balls being, taken off of those. So it felt good. And actually, as I was over the shot, I was thinking of you. I was thinking about this big match today.
Any fallout from us being at the house last year
a little
with
bit.
your wife?
Yeah,
okay.
A little bit. Someone, I think it was Andrew, posted videos. Now I know that you've
who posted not in the house?
Not in the house, but
part
from
3.
the par 3, and which is fine.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. It's just we've had a few people show up unexpected at the house since then because you happen to pan to your right.
Oh, no.
So you can see exactly where we are. It's okay. My wife, she'll get over it maybe in 3 or 4 years, but no, it's okay. You're back. We love you guys.
Maybe that's why when I said to Jim, hey, we can't wait to come this year. And then he goes, oh, okay.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yes, Paulie.
Dan, we're going to walk in the house, and it has one of those little signs and baskets, leave your cell phone here when we walk in this year.
You're fine. McLovin is part of the family. We're fine with it. Seriously.
Oh, I didn't
He's a good
know
man.
that.
No, it's not. I was trying to throw a lame joke out there. We're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, I should get pro flowers.
Yes, you should bring
them on now.
Should bring some roses over.
Can I get them over there in about 30 minutes?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that McLovin's going to be there today again as our
to
videographer. That's fine.
Well, no,
I want you to film the competition.
Does he have to sign a release form, Jim?
Oh, we have it. It's waiting for him. Absolutely.
I'm sure of that.
No, it's one of those things. You go to someone's house. Do you ask first? Can I? Do you mind if I release a?
No. His logic is he'll beg for forgiveness.
I see. Yeah.
So when he screws up,
where is the begging?
It's too late now.
Believe me, he feels horrible.
No,
and
I don't want him to. I don't want him to.
No,
because I got to
it's
tell
better.
you what really happened too, and I think it may have been. I'm not sure which came first, but Faldo and I had the whole CBS crew up to the house maybe the night before, and Faldo made a hole-in-one.
Yeah,
hadn't that happened the night before?
So he made the plaque.
Faldo released it. So I'm just egging you on a little bit.
Because you're just making me feel better.
No, Faldo did. In fact, as soon as I went in the cup, I turned around and thought, uh-oh, somebody's going to post this. And I went over to his friend and I said, she said, it's already out there. It's already out there. And 2 million hits later, whatever it was, it was, no damage.
By the way, and I don't know
when
how
am I coming to your house, by the way?
I saw this tweet from Chris Collinsworth, of course, Sunday Night Football analyst. this on Pro Football Focus. Browns could be a problem this year. Nick Chubb running, OBJ healthy, a fired-up Baker with legit protection. Surprise team. Chris is really smart. That is not insightful at all. The Cleveland Browns would not be a surprise team. They better be good this year, because if they're not, OBJ could be gone. Baker Mayfield could be on his way out too. But, yeah, the Browns will be a problem this year in a good way. Yeah, McLevin.
But I think he's pointing at something. Guys have moved on. People have moved on from the Browns after a year. There's not a lot of hype, you know.
Do you think the Browns would be a surprise team if they won 9 or 10 games this year?
Yeah, a little bit. I think they'd be preceded it. I bet their over-under's what, 7.5, 8?
Well, if they don't make the playoffs, that's the surprise for me with the Cleveland Browns.
I think that you're probably a little more bullish than the people are talking about Drew Lock. Like there's new hype. I mean, there's new teams being hyped.
Well, I know that. We do that every year. We don't stay long on a team and then we move on. And Denver is going to be the flavor of the month there for a little while with Drew Lock. And, he's got some wide receivers. But the Browns, they would be a surprise if they don't make the playoffs. I was reminiscing with Mark Grace last night, former Cubs Diamondbacks All-Star first baseman, and reflecting back on the 1998 home run chase. Mark, of course, didn't hit home runs, but he had a great seat by choice, right, Gracie? You didn't hit home runs back then?
Hey, Sammy and I combined for 83 home runs that year. He had 66 and I had 17. That was a 1-2 punch if you ask me.
All right, if I say 1998 and that home run chase, like what's one thing that you remember the most about that?
Oh my goodness! Can I give you 3 things that I remember about it? Because 98 was obviously it was a big deal. Sammy and McGuire and the home runs and the excitement over that, and every single one of their ABs was going on ESPN, and it was a big deal. But also for me that year, the rookie emergence of Kerry Wood was a huge deal in Chicago and in baseball. He had struck out 20. Him and I think Bob Feller are the only 2 to ever strike out their age. And that was think about that, and so that was a big deal. And then obviously a big deal for me and Chicago and the Cubs was the postseason. We were in contention all year. We ended up winning a 1-game playoff against the San Francisco Giants to go and meet the Braves, and we lost to the Braves in the next series. But 3 of the biggest stories in baseball were going on in Chicago: the home run chase, Kerry Wood and his Rookie of the Year campaign, and then the Cubs being in the postseason.
That day with Kerry Wood, I think it's the greatest performance I've ever seen. Because that was Kerry Wood's 4th or 5th start. He's facing the Astros. They had a really good hitting lineup. And
they had a great hitting lineup, yes.
And I saw a guy throw a Frisbee that day. And not many pitchers can throw a Frisbee. Kerry Wood threw a Frisbee that day, and I don't think they had any you're there at first base. I don't know what you remember about that, but those were grown men who had no chance against Kerry Wood.
2 Hall of Famers in Bagwell and Biggio, more great hitters in Derek Bell, Moises Alou. They had a great lineup. So that said, I remember I told people, after about the 2nd inning, I was just like, you know what? I can go out there and put my glove on my head. And because these guys aren't hitting the ball. They're not going to hit the ball. If they fouled one off, we were like, man, is Kerry all right?
That was one of the.
I think the metrics, the propeller heads have said that is the greatest game ever pitched in the modern era.
Yeah.
So you guys know more about metrics than I do, so I'm not going to argue with it.
The home run chase I don't know if McGuire enjoyed it, but you were around Sammy every day. And it felt like Sammy was starting to eat this up. He was enjoying it a lot more than Mark McGuire. McGuire said he felt all this pressure. But what was Sammy like during that year?
No, he was loving every second of it. And once again, it was not only was it him, but it was also our team. So we were all into it because we were winning games and going for the postseason. Sammy was going for the postseason and also going for the home run record. So he loved every second of it. And we all got into it. I mean, it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. But you're right. Sammy was the one always with a smile on his face. It seemed like Mac, whom I've known, since college. He was at USC when I was at San Diego State, and it just, he's a good dude, and he's a fun-loving guy. But he did have a bit of a sourpuss attitude about it, I would say.
Yeah, I look back on that, and I remember when McGwire broke the record, Roger Maris's record, and you were at first base, and you congratulated him, which I think opened the door for all of your teammates in the infield to congratulate him. Did you catch any grief for congratulating McGwire after he homered?
No, there was a few people, local diehard Chicago Cub people, that thought it was BS on my part to do it. But I just harkened back when I was a kid, and I think people our age, Dan, all remember where we were when Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record with 715. I remember when he was running the bases, I saw Davey Lopes shake his hand after he hit the home run off Al Downing, and I thought, you know what, that's all right, And then when Mac did it, it wasn't so much about showing up Steve Trax or showing up anybody. We just witnessed history, man. That nobody else had ever done what Mac did at that time. So, yeah, that was pretty cool, dude. Congratulations. And if you didn't like it, tough S word,
He's Mark Gray's former Cub, Diamondback, All-Star first baseman. But as great as McGwire and Sosa were that year, Barry Bonds was at a different level than we've ever seen in the history of the sport. And so you're at first base when Bonds is up. You're probably not worried about a liner to first. It felt like if Bonds was swinging, he was trying to hit a home run every single time.
He rarely hit a ground ball, that's for sure. He was a pull hitter, but I wasn't too worried about him, Charlie Brown and me with a line drive because they were usually going over into the drink in McCovey Cove, but. The thing with Bonds was, the year that he hit 73, I think, was that the total 73?
Yeah.
But the year he hit 73, he was intentionally walked so many times. I know Mac and Sosa didn't get intentionally walked near as much as Barry did, and Barry still. So the bottom line, and those last couple of years for Barry when he was hitting all the home runs. If you didn't walk him, he hit a home run. He didn't hit a single. He didn't hit a double. If you pitched to him, if the catcher got down in his crouch behind the plate, he hit a home run. That was what he did. So basically, I could have put my glove on my head those days too, because it wasn't coming to me.
Is Sosa ever going to be welcomed back by the Cubs?
That's a great question. I don't really know that whole scenario. I was not in Chicago when that divorce happened. I had left a couple of years earlier, so I don't know exactly what went on in the clubhouse and what went on. I know he got caught with corking his bat, and then I know he left early on the last game of the season, or he didn't come to. I don't know exactly what happened, but. I think they welcomed me back. Why wouldn't they welcome back Sammy?
Yeah, but you didn't do anything wrong.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. You've always had my back, and I'm getting a little misty-eyed now that you said that.
Yeah.
But no, when I left, it wasn't under the greatest of circumstances. They have their side of the story. I have my side of the story, and there's always a third side of the story. So that said, yeah, it was. When Sammy left, I think there was a little more tension as far as how he behaved and how things went. I wish I had a better answer because I wasn't there. I was busy out in Arizona, finishing up my career. But I don't really know other than that. But I would say, for the Cubs' sake and for Sammy's sake, I think, welcoming him back would probably make a lot of Cub fans happy.
Yeah, but it's kind of hypocritical that the Cubs celebrated those sold-out crowds because, in large part, or certainly a pretty good share of Sammy Sosa, a lot of merchandise there, and then now it feels like they're distancing themselves from a PED user. So I don't know if and it's new ownership there, but I don't know if that factors in at all, Gracie.
Yeah, that's a great point, and there's a lot of PED users that are not banished from their teams. That like you said, all the merchandise, all the crowds that were there to see. Because I remember when the year that Sammy and McGuire, I remember if it was like the 7th or 8th inning, and I hit behind Sammy, and Sammy it's going to be his last at bat, and he'd either hit a homer or he'd hit a single or he'd make an out or whatever he did. Right after his at bat was over with, more than half the crowd would head for the exits, and now hitting Mark Grace, and I'm just seeing a bunch of asses headed to the exits, and I'm just like, hey, wait a minute, I'm a pretty good hitter too. Come on, man.
How were you not tempted to use steroids?
I'm going to give you the honest answer, Dan. Okay, I was a single man in Chicago, and that stuff is bad for your get up and go, if you know what I mean. So I wanted to continue to have the ability to get up and go. So that's a big reason. Second of all, I don't think my swing was conducive. I wasn't a fly ball hitter. I hit line drives and ground balls for the most part. If I elevated a line drive, it would go out of the ballpark. So I just don't think I was never interested in it. And I'm glad I didn't, because now looking back on my career, my numbers were my numbers, not a syringe's numbers. They were my numbers, and I'm proud of that.
2,400 hits, 300 batting average. All right, I told the story about Randy Johnson the other day on the air when you were in Arizona and you were playing the Cubs. You were in Chicago, and I go to see you in the locker room, you and Luis Gonzalez, and Randy Johnson's pitching that day, and you guys convinced me to go say hello to Randy Johnson. That didn't go well. On game day, I wouldn't talk to him when he wasn't pitching. And knowing what I know now, but you guys go say hello to Unit, man. He'd love to, blah blah blah. I walked down there, and he just stared at me.
Yeah, he's a barrel hunter from the day. Yeah, we were trying anything we could to try to get in Randy's head or bother him or something. It didn't matter. He still went out and dominated us, and we had no chance. But somebody asked me the other day, and to compare. The two best pitchers of at least, you got to throw Roger Clemens in there too, but two of the best pitchers of our era, Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I said, well, do you remember, there was two guys that you absolutely hated in high school? You hated the bully that would wait for you in the bathroom and steal your lunch money. You hated that guy. Well, that was Randy Johnson on the mound. Randy was a big bully that would steal your lunch money. And then Greg Maddux, he was like the valedictorian that got 100 on every test and set the curve at 100. And you hated that guy too. That was Greg Maddux. So what they had in common is they were the two guys you hated, like in high school. But one was the bully reason, and the other one was the valedictorian reason.
I know that we've told this story. We had Maddux on when he told this story, when he got a little more excited on the mound than you would normally expect somebody to get excited.
I told him he really loves pitching.
His get up and go. So you're at first base, and when do you notice that Greg Maddux he went from 6 o'clock to midnight?
Well, he threw a pitch, and I remember he was kind of favoring, like, if a pitcher or any player kind of pulls a groin or they start walking strange. So man, there's our bread and butter guy out there, our Cy Young guy. I run to him out. I'm like, you okay, dude? And he's like, Gracie, just stand in front of me. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what's going on? And he told me basically how excited he was to be pitching that day, and and I told him, I said, well, you just love pitching, don't you? And he told the wrong guy too, because I'm not going to keep that to myself. That's a story that had to be shared. Exactly.
Oh my God.
So, needless to say, he went on to bigger and better things, I guess you could say, after that. But it's just one more thing that you can't believe these things actually happened in the game, but they did, and it's amazing.
You went through a lockout and a strike, I believe, and here we are toying with 50 games. We going to have baseball?
Well, I think they better because this unprecedented coronavirus stuff, it's just decimated not only baseball, it's decimated sports. I never realized how much I loved watching sports on TV until they were all taken away. Geez, I was watching Matt Williams manage Korean baseball for all the. I'm just so and I'm sorry, but you watch those games and you just realize, man, Major League Baseball needs to come back. And that said, I went through two. I was locked out one time and I went on strike one time. And the replacement players and all that, it was a disaster, and all that. But I just recall both times that I went on strike, the court of public opinion, no matter what is said and no matter what is done, owners are the bad guys. No, players are the bad guys. They're going to point fingers at each other. But the court of public opinion, Dan, and I think you'll agree with me, is always, always against the players. 90% of the fans are blame the players anytime there's a work stoppage. And I think Tony Clark and his crew, I think they understand that, but they need to really understand it, because this is an important one, don't you think?
Yep, yeah. Because attendance has been dropping. And, fans they move on eventually. When they don't feel like a league, a sport invests in them or cares about them, after a while, and, that you got the oldest target demo in all the sports is your baseball fan, and, you're flirting with a whole generation that you're just moving on past, and it's unfortunate. Really is.
Well, yeah, and the game was losing fans because the beauty of the game, especially on the offensive end, is going away. It's all launch angle. It's all this launch angle and spin rate and all these things have led to not record breaking, record shattering home runs and record shattering strikeouts. So that kind of, after a while, the beauty of the hit and run or the suicide squeeze or it's just, or the stolen base. It's like there's only a handful of guys that steal bases anymore. So that part of the game is gone, and I think a lot of fans, especially the older fans, they miss the beauty of baseball, and they are becoming a little bored with the all or nothing thing that baseball has become offensively.
Good to visit with you, and stay in touch.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Have a great rest of your day. Tell the boys I said hello.
That's Gracie, Mark Grace, a former Cub great, Diamondback great, and won a World Series there. We'll take a break, and he batted cleanup off the field, too. Just letting you know. He batted, he was a 5-tool player. All right, we'll take a break. Phone calls coming up right after this. Father's Day can be tough, but I've got a couple of tips for you to make it go a little smoother. Tubing can be a whole lot of fun for your kids. But you know what? Can be a whole lot more fun for you when you get to send them flying off. Celebrate Father's Day by shopping in-store or online to make sure you find the perfect gift for Dad. Have you been to Augusta?
Actually, I'm a member, but I'm by far I'm the highest handicap member they've ever had.
What is your best round at Augusta?
Not very good. I think it was probably an 89. That's my best memory, but it's a long time ago. I was going to say I gave up golf, but actually golf gave up me.
But how important is golf in your business with socializing? Like, has it replaced having dinners or lunches?
I don't think so. It never really was. I liked golf a lot. I played a lot of golf when I was younger, and I don't. It really wasn't a factor in business for me. I wasn't good enough. Nobody wanted to play with me, actually.
Is Bill Gates a member at Augusta as well?
He is a member. In fact, I was with him when we were playing in a club tournament, and on the very last shot he hit was a hole-in-one. We played the par 3 after the regular 18, and he knocked it in, and it cost me $5,500 because the foursome had to split buying the drinks that night. I keep reminding him, but I don't see any checks coming. If you could help me on this, I'd appreciate it.
Dan, last segment I accused the chain of restaurants Outback Steakhouse of using an American voiceover actor doing a kind of Australian accent. I did some research and I actually got this back from the New York Times. They were actually, their media writer was asked about this, and he responded with a statement from Outback Steakhouse. Sydney, New South Wales-born actor William Snow has been the voiceover guy since they did this ad campaign in '09. He's a pretty successful Australian actor.
That and Minority Report.
And they don't understand why people think it's a faux Australian accent. And here is a picture of Mr. Snow.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's going to move some...
It's like their version of Pierce Brosnan.
Right. That's going to move some bloomin' onion. So, Dan, for the first time, you know me, I don't like to apologize. And I'm not going to do it here because I still think I'm right.
Maybe it was Foster's that you were thinking of. Foster's Australian for beer.
You're right about that.
Maybe try that one out.
It
See
could
if
have
that
been.
guy was fake.
I just switched my whole thesis.
Right. Be like, oh, wait, did I say Outback? No, I meant Foster's. I meant the beer. I didn't.
Yeah, because you know I'm not apologizing, but I don't buy it. This guy's too good looking to be a voiceover actor. Way too good looking.
Interesting. This could be a fake story. It could be fake news.
So they have their side, I have my side.
Well, I mean, New York Times.
Yeah.
How reliable are they really?
How long have they been around?
Yeah.
I've been around for a lot.
Yeah.
Something.
Gossip magazine.
Minority Report when he walks into the gas.
That's that.
I saw this on TMZ's website. Todd McFarlane, he bought the Mark McGwire baseball. $3 million. The baseball that broke Roger Maris's all-time home run record. And he bought it he paid $2.7 million for it, but after taxes and fees, he dropped a little over $3 million. I was curious what it's worth now, and TMZ Sports had some information from some people who deal in memorabilia. Its current value is around $250,000 to $300,000. Barry Bonds' 73rd home run, the all-time single-season high, that brought in about $500,000. But McFarlane got caught up, and he's got the money, but he got caught up in 1998 with the home run chase, and he bought that ball for $3 million, and now worth about $250,000 to $400,000. A couple of phone calls in there. I'd never heard Mark Grace, why he didn't use steroids. So the actual reason, not joking, was that he wanted to be able to have some get up and go off the field. I'd never heard that. So if Gracie had been married at that time, he'd have 200 more home runs and probably be in the Hall of Fame, is what he would have been able to do there. Mike in New York. Mike, thanks for holding. What do you have?
Hey, guys. That was a fantastic interview with Mark Grace.
I just wanted to talk baseball without any of this other nonsense. So I hope people, appreciate that, because I just wanted to celebrate the game a little bit instead of talking about all this negativity. So thank you, Mike. What's on your mind?
Immensely, and I think that's the concern. Baseball should be fearing out of sight, out of mind. The game is already disappearing in about 40 AA markets. Premier League is about to start up. NHL is about to start up. And for me, those are all in sports for me. Of course, football and basketball. What are they going to do? I think folks like me with a family of 5, I'm a non-traditional, I don't have season tickets to baseball. Folks like me, families like me, they will find another outlet for their entertainment dollar. They will.
I know, and it's a great point, Mike, and I appreciate the phone call. And I'm sure baseball understands it, but they're stuck in, right now, a myopic view, and it's dangerous. Brett in California. Hey, Brett.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, bud.
I could listen to you talk story with Grace all day.
Good man. He's a good dude. He really is. This is how goofy he is. I joked about how slow he was, and he stole a base. I was in left field, and he stole a base. He got up to dust himself off, and he pulled his pants down a little bit to moon me in left field because I'm there as a fan, and he just wanted to say, I can steal base. He stole 70 bases in his career, but in that moment, he mooned me when I was in left field just to say, take that. So what's on your mind, Brett?
Jeff Passan put out an article last night concerning MLB, and there were a couple points I wanted to point out to you and just get your thoughts on them.
Okay.
I feel like with, the owners, they're making a lot of money in these franchises or they wouldn't own them, and yet there's no transparency, and I think that's what the problem with the players are. They think the owners are making tons of money, and they want to get their piece, so when the owners are coming back saying, we're not making any money, we got to cut your salaries, they don't believe them.
Yep. You're not going to get total transparency. Sorry, Brett, we're up against the break. But, and I understand that. The owners don't want to open their books. It's just not pretty. And I don't know who the grown-up in the room is. And that's what's going to take. Maybe a couple of them. Final hour coming up. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show.
that I want a day on the water, summer's here, 77 degrees, Captain Ralph running things. Now, see, now, all I was told was be here at 1 o'clock.
Right.
What's going on?
Well, it's my understanding that we've got a couple of tubes.
I love tubing.
And I believe we're going to go tubing, as they say.
So are we the throwers or the throwees? Because I like throwing people on the tube.
I think based on the way that this works, I think we might be getting thrown.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
I got a little like, what's that feeling in my stomach? Really good. I mean, we were cooking there at the end. These tubes are really solid, like you can hold on.
I got 5. Thank you.
We did it.
Tales of survival.
Indeed. This is the stuff they make movies about.
You know, I always just tell the people at Cabela's that this thing is tested within the limits of what it's made of.
Yeah.
No two men have ever gone that fast and that poorly on a tube.
It's a good, I feel like my hands are numb from the grip.
Go, Captain.
Occasionally, if I get bored, I'll go glass on them. We got to get the AUAA coming back, Mario. You got a lot of pressure on you coming up on Thursday, though. You and Tyler, the Creator. I'm running about 50% from this spot. I miss one, make one. And one. All right, this is for, first one is to tie, second one is to win. Damn it! All right, so now I got a tie. Pre-pandemic, I was a much better free throw shooter. Yeah, nah. I'll find it again. I'll find it. Sorry. Damn it.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Patrick.
You know, when these owners say, hey, we don't make that much money, well, sell your team. Why would you own a team and you don't make any money? You do make money. We don't know how much money, but you make money. And look, you have every right to make your money, but don't plead poverty here. There's no trust. This myopic view of right now. This is about the long-term health of this sport. The fans don't care about the numbers.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
Fans care about you playing.
Bringing you all the sports that choose to return.
Berger is back, and so is the PGA Tour.
I think that's where you say, the PGA Tour is back, and Daniel Berger is your champion. I don't think you lead with Daniel Berger. Yeah, Tom.
Could you have just said Daniel Berger? Well done.
Oh, okay.
Let's get out.
All right.
Go to commercial.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
He cut the mustard.
There you go.
All right.
This is Dan Patrick.
Made it to the final hour on this Tuesday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Spent some time talking baseball with Mark Grace last hour. It's all I wanted to do. He was front and center, 1998, the home run chase with McGuire and Sosa, but just wanted to talk baseball and tell some stories. Had a lot of fun with him. Remember when people tried to say that sports and politics don't mix? And I get it occasionally here. Stick to sports. It seems almost impossible to do that now. Athletes in almost every sport won't let us. And yesterday you had Oklahoma State running back Chuba Hubbard. He spoke out strongly against his head coach, Mike Gundy. Now, Gundy was spotted in a photo wearing the T-shirt of a network that strongly supports President Trump. For Hubbard, who rushed for over 2,000 yards last year, this was unacceptable. He said that he wouldn't do anything for the team until the issue was resolved. So the coach and player discussed it later and even appeared in a video together later that day. Gundy said he needs to make some changes. I'm not sure that this would have happened a month ago, but everything has changed since the death of George Floyd. And right now, it's impossible for players and coaches to avoid expressing their viewpoints. We're finding that out on all levels here. Hubbard's not just a good player. He's an awesome player. And he'll be one of the Heisman Trophy finalists, or at least will start the season that way. He ran for over 2,000 yards last year. Not that that should make his voice any louder than other people on the team, but that's the reality of team sports. When J.J. Watt says he's going to kneel this year, Baker Mayfield says that, then all of a sudden you start to take note. If it was going to be a lineman for the Browns or the Texans, you wouldn't. Stars point the way. And I'm interested to see if other college football players will follow Hubbard's lead in the coming weeks. We've seen this with Iowa. Strength and conditioning coach was let go. You're going to find a few more of these stories out there because it feels like the athletes, they may have the platform to be able to say this without repercussions. I wasn't sold on Mike Gundy's apology here. When he says he needs to make changes, I don't know what that means. He said, I realize it's a very sensitive issue with what's going on in today's society. I'm looking forward to making some changes. That starts at the top with me, and we've got good days ahead. Hubbard said, I went about it the wrong way by tweeting. I could have went to him as a man. That was my bad. 28 minutes later, Hubbard then fired off one more warning by saying, tweeting, note, don't get it twisted. My foot's still on the gas. Results are coming. It's not over. I don't know what this happens with his teammates with Oklahoma State. Is it something you can smooth over? And certainly with a predominantly African-American locker room, will they follow suit with him? And what do you want from Mike Gundy? Is Gundy going to change who he is? His politics? For the sake of his team? Probably not. The question is, how far do these players take it? 877-3DP Show, email address dp@danpatrick.com. Ezekiel Elliott testing positive for the coronavirus. Cowboys, Texans, those players testing positive. I don't know the number, but just know that Ezekiel Elliott is now the big name attached to the COVID-19 virus. And we're going to have more of this. You're seeing this with college football. Some of these schools, Alabama's had a few players who've tested positive. There will be more in the coming weeks. The question is, where are we once we get to August and September? And we talked about how college football, are they going to be able to fit the college football season into a different window this year? because a lot of schools, I think most schools will be starting in August to be done by Thanksgiving. So that way you don't come back until the spring. Could you put college football in that window of after Thanksgiving? And I think that was proposed a while ago. We got a long way to go. I mean, it feels like it's right around the corner, but the progress that is made, or at least our knowledge, is growing exponentially every single day. But we don't have all the answers. The NFL doesn't have an answer in place. If this was during the season and it was a Thursday and Zeke Elliott tested positive and these other Cowboy players, they're not playing. They're not going to play for a couple of weeks. And then he's in practice. What about everybody that came in contact with him? What about the previous week, that game? There's a lot of uncertainty here before we go, well, the NFL will figure it out. College football is going to figure it out. Baseball hasn't figured it out. NBA hasn't figured it out. We still go back to Rudy Gay. When he tested positive, the league was suspended 3 hours later. I don't know what's going to happen if you have positive test. And you will have positive test. But then what happens to that player or players? Are you going to have extra players on the roster? Like, there's a lot going on here. Commissioner was on with Mike Greenberg last night. It was an ESPN SportsCenter special, The Return of Sports, and Roger Goodell said that they expect positive COVID tests. Well, they should. He also talked about Colin Kaepernick, and I do believe this commissioner realizes the importance of Kaepernick and the commissioner's legacy. He had this to say about teams signing Kaepernick.
If he wants to resume his career in the NFL, that obviously is going to take a team to make that decision, but I welcome that, support a club making that decision and encourage them to do that. If his efforts are not on the field, but and continuing to work in this space, we welcome to that table and to be able to help us and guide us and help us make better decisions about the kinds of things that need to be done in communities.
Why didn't he welcome it before? He's the commissioner of the NFL. Now he's welcoming it. And I've said this, and I firmly believe it, the NFL reacts. They don't act. They're waiting to see how the winds are blowing here. But how do you encourage a team to sign Colin Kaepernick? Here's another item, and we brought this up when Tim Tebow came back, and he got another opportunity. You know, the coverage on Tebow was not worth a backup quarterback. But then there's also going to be the fallout here. What happens when you get rid of Kaepernick? Let's say you decide you move on from Kaepernick. Then what happens? Right? You move on for football reasons. Then what happens? That's what I'm curious about. Because you can't hire somebody that you can't fire. And if you bring in Kaepernick and you get rid of him for football reasons, what is the blowback going to be? And that is also attached to this. Fritzy correcting me. I said Rudy Gay, not Rudy Gobert. Thank you, Todd, for correcting me on that. But I don't know if you can encourage a team. The commissioner can keep players off the field. The commissioner's exempt list. He doesn't have a list that says that's the list of players I want on the field. It doesn't work that way. And if you're bringing in Kaepernick, that from ownership all the way down, everybody's got to be on board with this. So he can encourage, I don't know what that means. If I'm an owner or coach, GM, the starting quarterback, I'm going to have a say in this. I mean, I appreciate the commissioner helping the process. He could have helped a while ago. I do think that this is attached to his legacy. I really do. Because the only thing you know Roger Goodell for is what? He makes money. He makes money for the owners. The league has grown. Okay. That's not a great legacy to have. Adam Silver will have a great legacy. Rob Manfred will not have a great legacy. Yeah, Paul.
Isn't the one benefit, though, for the NFL and Goodell is that it's mid-June, training camps open in less than 5 weeks. This isn't going on at October 8th when teams are set at the quarterback position and there's not training camps about to open. There's 32 teams who sign lots of different players this time of year and give lots of people different looks, not with this much coverage, but the timing we would think would work out.
Well, you had that, whatever that workout was, the Kaepernick combine that they staged, and he walked out and he knew it was a sham, and they wanted him to sign a waiver. It was everybody wanted to go, hey, we gave him a chance, and now we move on. Hey, we checked the box. Hey, we gave him a chance. He didn't want to do it. Well, now it feels like you're giving him a legitimate chance to play football. But I think Cam Newton would get signed before Colin Kaepernick would. Because we've seen Cam Newton. I haven't seen Kaepernick in years. And even though Cam's got injuries, now Cam, the other part of that is he wants to start. I think Kaepernick understands if I come in and I go into Houston or Kansas City or Baltimore, I'm not starting. But I am back in the NFL. I don't know what he wants. He's let everybody speak for him. He hasn't said anything. I mean, Mike Florio says that Kaepernick really wants to come back. Okay, I trust Mike, but I haven't heard anything. I don't think he tweets anything about coming back. It feels like everybody's fighting the battle for him, but I don't even know if he wants to be in the battle to come back. I don't know. If he gets a chance, great. Hope he gets a chance, and we show progress with this. But all these owners and a commissioner felt like they were standing in front of him, not letting him in. And it had nothing to do with football. But boy, did they leak out information. Remember the stories that came out that he couldn't play anymore? His diet. Remember he's on I think a vegan diet. That was going to prevent him from coming back. They had that smear campaign for Kaepernick. And I don't know if he can play. I mean, I don't look at him and go, boy, he's the next Mahomes. He did play, and he went to a Super Bowl, and he played at a pretty high level. And in today's NFL, with that style, even at that age, he could be a real force. He was Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson. He went to a Super Bowl. He nearly won a Super Bowl. I mean, that has to account for something here. But if you're bringing him in, you're not just bringing in a football player. Yeah, McLovin.
I was thinking about the Tebow comparison. Tebow, I just looked it up. He got cut by the Patriots in camp, and he got cut by the Eagles in camp.
Yeah.
And I don't remember either of those being. I remember the Patriots thing, but it wasn't the end of the world. Like, I think cutting Kaepernick could be much bigger story.
They weren't talking about that at the time. Okay, when maybe you'd have First Take that was talking about it, but they loved Tebow and they'd always lead with Tebow because that got clicks. But I think what happened with Tebow in Denver. If it wasn't Peyton Manning going in there, I think there would have been some outrage there that Tebow was being let go, so you brought in Peyton Manning. You brought in Peyton, and Elway was able to get away with that. I think it was a little bit more sensitive back then. After a while, we kind of moved on from Tebow because we knew he couldn't play. He wasn't a starter in the league. Kaepernick is a starter. Kaepernick's real. Tim Tebow was not. Had a moment there with Denver, but he was not a starting quarterback. All right, some phone calls here. Kennedy in Louisville joining us. Hey, Kennedy, what do you have for me? Kennedy? In 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Kennedy. Charlie in Ohio. Hi, Charlie. What do you have for me?
What's going on, Dan?
Hey, Charlie. Thanks for holding.
I just want to give you a casual baseball fan's perspective. It's almost as if, in honor of 4th of July, that baseball has canceled their 4th of July fireworks and that Major League Soccer is having theirs, but it's an entire show of a grand finale. And I thought that eventually Major League Soccer would overtake baseball in my life, but I think it might happen this year. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, but you know what? It's something positive for soccer. But no, MLS, I mean, the Premier League coming back is great. I think that starts tomorrow, but no, I don't see that happening. This is just a blip here for Major League Baseball, but it could get a lot bigger blip. Yes, Eden.
So I think Bundesliga was the first one back, right? And I haven't seen any data on how they're testing now, and if there's players that are are testing positive or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the sports leagues here are reaching out to those leagues that already have a history. Bundesliga has been back a month already. If they're reaching out to those organizations to see how they're doing things.
I think we have Dr. Fauci on Thursday.
Correct.
Todd? And I'm curious, with his role and with these leagues and how much correspondence is going on. I'm going to guess there has to be a lot because you just want to make sure that you understand what they're doing. You can see some of these leagues, and if they make mistakes, then you will learn from those mistakes. But if they're doing something that is going to be positive and can help your league, you certainly want that information. So I understand that you'd be reaching out and saying, how did you do it? What are the things you would do differently? And football has a little bit of breathing room here. Michael in Texas joins us. Hey, Mike, what do you have for me today?
Good morning, Dan. Dan Edge, chat row. Work from home, 5'10", 210. Just wanted to chime in about the fast food talk earlier. The greatest fast food item you can get is the cheesy gordita crunch with the Doritos Locos taco inside. Most underrated are the cinnamon twists, also from Taco Bell. Also, In-N-Out is garbage.
Wow. Thank you, Michael.
Should probably stay on hold. We'll get you some Dan Patrick Show gear.
Wow.
There, Michael.
What do you have against In-N-Out Burger?
Honestly, I don't really have anything against out. It's just the way
the
people react. Who people are like, yo, you suck. Like they go bonkers over it. And I had it once, and I didn't. Honestly, maybe I didn't order it right, but I was just like, this is what everybody's going crazy over. Really? I just thought it was kind of average at best.
Yeah, Paul.
Dan, you ever go see a movie that everyone tells you got to see it? It's the best movie. You must see it. It's going to change your life. And you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. Seton got oversold In-N-Out Burger. If he had just had one, he'd be like, oh, this is it's a good burger. But he was told it's the end-all, be-all, and he went in with way too high expectations.
Now I'm definitely in it for the bit, though. It's just the reaction. The reaction is just so hilarious. I couldn't imagine being like that passionate about a fast food place that I would get so upset.
Yeah, I don't know why people get so defensive.
Oh, typical East Coaster. Like, what?
I love White Castle growing up, but I'm not ready to throw down because of White Castle. What'd you say?
Then did you ever really love White Castle?
I probably didn't. And it's, being from Cincinnati, Skyline and Gold Star, and you got to pick one. And I go, it really depends on which one is closest to me when I want something to eat. I don't go, oh my God, I got to have my three-way from Gold Star. I'd never go to Skyline. I couldn't care less. Jesse in Los Angeles. Hi, Jesse. What do you have for me?
Hey, DP.
Hey, bud.
First, suck at Michael in Texas for that comment. But I had a comment and a related story on the fast food topic as well.
Okay.
I came across an article on the Thrillist. It was written that if they serve alcohol and you'd rather sit inside on some occasions, then it's not considered fast food. It's considered that new age fast casual. And that brings me to my story. A buddy and I were in Switzerland on a snowboarding trip earlier this year, and we were having a great night out with the locals, but we turned in early to go get some McDonald's and try sobering up before hitting the mountain the next day. And what do you know? They have beer there. So long story short, we didn't get up until 11 the next day and woke up with about a $90 beer tab from McDonald's.
Wow. I didn't know. Thank you, Jesse. I didn't know McDonald's had alcohol.
In Europe.
But why not here?
I don't know. I'm missing the boat.
I mean, it's not reason enough for me to go to McDonald's, but if I do go there, I'm taking the kiddies there for a kid's meal or something. Yes, Fritzy.
They don't want people to get McTipsy in the United States.
Okay.
They're driving around after they went through the drive-through with the liquor. That's not.
Extremely Happy Meal.
Did you guys ever do Chuck E. Cheese? I went in and vowed I was not going back. Yes,
I go all the time. It's a main birthday party.
No, I know.
The games are fun, not the food necessarily.
Well, there's that pit of plastic balls there that you can jump in. I mean, they can't allow that, post-pandemic there. But yeah, we went in one time and it was just sensory overload. And I said, no, I don't think so. Yeah, Paul.
If a single man ever went into a Chuck E. Cheese on a Saturday afternoon, he would never, ever get married and have kids. If you ever want to curtail the population, bring a bunch of 18-year-olds to Chuck E. Cheese and show them what's in store for them. There would never be a kid born again. There'd be like 8 kids the next year.
Yeah. Like, this is you in a couple of years. That's you right there.
Khaki pants and you're...
Yeah. Yeah, McLevin.
I can't tell you how many times I've been playing a video game there, and some 8-year-old kid is waiting. Sir, are you going to get off that at some point? I'm like, no, I'm on fire. Get away from me. You see these tickets coming? So they give you these tickets. So you get 1,000 tickets. You get like a harmonica or something. You know that deal. It's like a fair.
Yeah. No, it's not good. Not
Did you have fairs growing up, like local town fair? Would you go to the fair and get like rides?
Yeah.
That was a big deal for us growing up.
Yeah. I went to the boardwalk in Jersey. They would have all those rides, and my wife, for some reason, loved going to the boardwalk in Jersey.
It's because it's the best.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
no,
it definitely
it's
is.
not. If I saw Snooki and the situation and people like that, it might have been interesting. But maybe they were there. I was seeing people who were just like Snooki, but I did not enjoy the boardwalk. It's seedy. And all those games you can't win.
Yeah.
Hey, have a candy apple, and here's a game you can't win.
Little French fries and vinegar. Dude, that's living.
All right, we'll take a break here. More phone calls coming up. Bill Burr, the great comedian, will join us on the program tomorrow. Bill is in the movie, the Pete Davidson movie, King of Staten Island, and a dramatic turn for Bill Burr. He's actually really good. And it's getting good reviews. Marissa Tomei is wonderful in it. Pete Davidson is good. That's my official review on it. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And I thought there were some really good moments in there. But Marissa Tomei, that was a little bonus. You're like, wait, that's Marissa Tomei. I did not even know she was in the movie. I just knew it was Pete Davidson's movie. And then all of a sudden I see Bill Burr and I go, all right, I got Marissa Tomei, Bill Burr. And my kids tell me Pete Davidson is funny. I don't know that much about him. He does these little cameos on Saturday Night Live. And I know he does stand-up, but all I know is he always seems to have a girl that you go, or a woman where you go, wait, Pete Davidson's with Kate Beckinsale? Wait, what? Yes, Paulie.
Is he the Rick Ocasek of our generation? Google it.
Oh, no, I know.
You do.
Yeah. Yes, McLovin.
Yeah, I don't love him on Saturday Night Live necessarily, but I like him. Does that make sense? Like, they don't use him in skits the right way.
No, it feels like he just does a little cameo on the Weekend Update or something.
He's been great in quarantine. I think he lives with his mom.
Yeah.
Somebody's hysterical.
No, he still lives with his mom on Staten Island. And my wife's from Staten Island, or she grew up on Staten Island. And so she goes, I got to watch that movie. I said, hon, it's not really showcasing Staten Island. No. But yeah, if you want to. She thinks it's going to be like this postcard of Staten Island. And I said, well, all right, you watch it, and maybe you'll get something. You'll get more out of it than I did as far as Staten Island. All right, take a break. More phone calls coming up 23 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. The last celebrity you saw at one of your baseball games?
Well, Nick Lachey was actually at a game of ours in L.A., and I guess someone must know somebody on the team, or somebody left him tickets, and he was in, like, our family section.
Well, his mom used to work for the Reds.
Well, then that's probably it. And he's a big Reds fan, and he was there. My wife was at the game, and like, she doesn't really care too much about baseball, which is good. You know, coming home, she's like, "Oh, good game." I was like, "Oh, for it." I'm like, "Dude, it's good. That's what you want, you know." But she was at the game, and literally, I had to hear about it for like hours after the game. Like, oh my god, like I've never seen her like so excited about like going to a game, or just after the game was just Nick Lachey this, Nick Lachey that, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Was your wife more excited about Nick Lachey or your 4 home run game?
Nick Lachey, like God's honest truth for sure. Like after that game, the 4-homer game, I came out and like it took a while because they were authenticating all my stuff, and it took a while for me to get out. And she was waiting for me after the game, and I come out and she's like, "Hey, like great game," and I'm just like, do you even realize what just happened type of deal? But yeah, 100% more excited about the Nick Lachey thing. She got a picture with him, so I mean that like made her season right there. So I mean,
yeah. Well, she's got her priorities.
Yeah, for sure. She's Yeah, she's in a good spot.
I hope that
sure.
I hope she doesn't run into Justin Timberlake, or you're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's some. I'm just going to put her up in the nosebleeds, to where none of the famous people will be.
Look in here.
So we have here. Sometimes when you're in traffic, guys on motorcycles or scooters will try to slide by, and
I didn't know we had a look in here.
Opens their door. Now, this gentleman did it accidentally and didn't really hurt the cyclist or the scooterist too badly, but he runs out to help him and really tries to make the situation better. Some positivity. So look, this guy opens his door. Oh, he did not know. And he knocks him over. He did not get hurt that bad, but look, I'm going to help you up. I'm sorry. Look, we can get along. I'm going to help you up. I'm going to help you pick your scooter up and help you get out. No!
Oh, no! Oh, my God.
Came out of his shoe.
Yeah. Enjoy watching this for a couple hours. Because I did. I'm sorry.
Oh, jeez, I'm sorry about that.
Hey, you know what? Accidents happen.
Hey, no hard feelings.
Yeah, all the best.
Why don't I just throw this through that?
Oh, my God.
That's not good.
If I said you could watch this for the next hour or anything else on Earth.
Okay. Now, the camera, I have a real problem with the camera person, because once this takes off, why does he turn the camera over here? He goes, okay,
well, maybe
what are you showing?
Maybe to go help. Maybe he's going to help. It's possible he could be helping save them from whatever.
I don't think he's helping.
Looking for reaction on the street, on the sidewalk.
Yeah, Todd's working the camera. He's shooting off to the side.
Yeah.
Not helping at all.
I would have
Now, okay, this is sneaky miss over here.
What fell off
the woman, now watch her reaction. She's here. She's going to help. Okay, I'll get out of my car.
Well, I think because her car just got hit.
Yeah.
So she's checking her bumper to be like, hey, what the heck
Hey,
just
now
happened?
watch her grab her hair.
Oh, lost one of his flip-flops.
I could watch this all day.
Is that a designated moped lane or what? A scooter lane? What's that called that he's on? I'm going to guess he shouldn't have been driving between the cars, is my guess.
I've wanted to do
yes,
that.
he's breaking the law.
Is he at fault?
Yes,
Okay.
because that is the new parking lane they have in New York City.
Oh, that is so good. so there's minor damage to just minor damage.
Right.
Here,
Yeah,
right?
nobody got hurt bad.
Like this isn't bad. Everybody can go on
Hey, sorry about
with their
that.
life. And then
Let's hit the gas. Whammo. It's great, isn't it?
Oh, but wait, I gotta watch it one more time.
You should.
Okay.
The guy loses his shoe and the bike.
What kind of shoes does he have? Flip flops on, or?
It looks like some kind of flip-flop, some kind of beach shoe.
So
His bike-
just.
There goes the shoe.
So now you brought in another car and you've damaged the motorcycle more.
What a disaster.
All right, you ding up a scooter in New York. Hey, that happens.
Oh. Oh, man. Paulie just showing us a video. Guy's on one of these scooters in New York City, and he's going in between cars. Cars parked on the right, and then he's going to be on the right-hand side of the lane. And, he's in New York. And the guy opens his door to get out of his door that's parked, and the motorcycle runs into the door. The guy, and look, it's a high-end scooter, and the guy was just, he felt bad, so he went down to help the guy up and help bring up the scooter, and he grabs the throttle, and he takes off. So he's trying to make it better by helping him up, and he makes it worse, and then he runs the scooter into a car. And he's racing after his flip-flops.
I'll help you up here, Sonny. Sorry about no harm, no foul.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's good.
You can watch it all day,
Yeah,
can you?
I can. I think I've watched it 8 times right now.
Do you think if you guys were on the street and saw that, would you, and you had your phone in your hand, would you keep rolling or help out the injured parties?
If there was no movement, then I would help out. But if there was the potential for disaster,
You'd frame up the shot?
I would frame up the shot a little bit. All right, some phone calls here. 877-3DP show. Steve in Alabama. Hey, Steve, what do you have for me today?
Yeah, good morning. First time caller, long time watcher. 310, pleasantly prompt.
All right.
And 6'1". Thanks. Real quick, if I was on the 4-day event, you wouldn't have to worry about that airplane at all. I'd have one parked there for you.
Oh.
You'd find out which one of your danettes didn't care, because they wouldn't be on the plane and didn't pay their part. And last of all, and most important, we keep saying take a knee or kneeling at the same time. There is a difference. Everybody drop down to that second knee. There ain't nobody going to talk bad about you. Just talk to whoever you talk to when you talk to them at night or in the day. But take that second knee, and I think everybody respect that a whole lot more.
All right. Well, thank you, Steve. I don't know if that's true or not. This is a situation that people have made up their mind, and they're not changing. So I'm not here to convince you one way or another. I can only tell you my feelings on that. And they haven't changed. But if you see it differently, you have every right to interpret it that way. Evan in Virginia. Hey, Evan, what do you have for me?
Hey, how's it going, bud?
Yep.
First time, long time, 6'3", Marine Corps, 220.
All right.
So just hearing you talk about high-profile players like Zeke Elliott testing positive for COVID, and how that could affect the team if that were to happen during the season. I know with my Jets, Sam Darnold getting mono, the most Jet thing ever, derailed the majority of the season, came back strong. But as far as Colin Kaepernick, Cam Newton, players like that, landing spots, as an insurance policy, if that were to happen, what you thought about that kind of scenario?
It's really about the ownership there. And thank you, Evan. I don't know where the Jets would stand on Colin Kaepernick. I don't know much about that ownership group.
They're very, very deep in the Republican Party. Woody Johnson.
Yeah.
I think he was on the campaign committee, and he's an ambassador to Great Britain, I think.
Yeah, that's another part of this, that if you have a large group of these owners who donated to President Trump, or they're Republicans, and I think that they know what the blowback is going to be if you bring in Colin Kaepernick. And that's why you can remove a certain number of owners already from this. The commissioner can encourage these owners, but it doesn't matter what, the coach or the GM, it's about the owner. And if the owner is open to it, then Colin Kaepernick is going to get a chance. That's what it comes down to. Bill O'Brien can mean well and say he's going to kneel. Deshaun Watson firmly established as his starting quarterback. J.J. Watt is going to take a knee. At least he says he is. It's got to come down to ownership. And if ownership says, we'll bring in Colin Kaepernick, we're not afraid of, what kind of feedback we're going to get, then that'll happen. But when you're looking at scenarios here, Shad Khan, who owns Jacksonville, he's talked about the racism that he encountered when he was growing up and may still encounter that. I don't know if that means there's an opportunity for Colin Kaepernick to get a chance in Jacksonville. I don't know about the Hunt family in Kansas City. But you have Andy Reid there and you have Patrick Mahomes. It starts at the top. And the commissioner, if he's going to talk to an owner and encourage them, he has to know which owners would be open to this. Because President Trump and where, his position is on this. And that's going to be the hard part for these owners, an owner who brings in Colin Kaepernick. As far as Cam Newton goes, Cam wants to start. And I don't think Cam Newton would be the right guy to come in with Sam Darnold there. Yes,
It just feels like with Colin Kaepernick, so many stars have to align in order to get him back into the league that, almost the idea of thinking of it seriously as a possibility is kind of ridiculous. Because one, you have to get him to agree to play. You have to get him to want to play. Then you have to find an owner and a team that's willing to give him a spot, and a spot that actually suits what he can do, or a place that he's willing to be a backup. There's just so many things you have to check off here for this to actually happen. It seems just...
Well, we have time, though. We have a couple of months for that, opportunity. But I'd like to hear from Kaepernick. I don't want to speak on his behalf because I don't know if he wants to play. I just want to look at this logically and say, if it does happen, it would probably be in these places here where I have an established quarterback. I have a coach who's open to it, but I also have to look at the ownership. That's what it's all about. Because ownership, if they say yes, then it's going to happen. If they say no, then it's not going to happen. And I don't know how many of those spots there are in the NFL. As much as we want to look at it and you go, well, talent-wise, that's part of it. But I think that's a smaller part than the bigger part. And that is, will an owner allow Colin Kaepernick to come in and be a backup quarterback? That's why Cam Newton has a better chance to come in someplace. But he wants to start. Kaepernick would know you're coming in and you're going to be a backup quarterback to start. Yeah, Paul.
And if you look at Colin Kaepernick's social media, he hasn't touched any of it at all. Not responded, not put out anything about. It's nothing about football. It's all about what he's doing in social justice. There's nothing about, yeah, I would play if this. He gives you nothing to work off there of what he's thinking football wise.
And I think that he should come out and say something. You don't have to do it, publicly in front of a microphone, but I just think letting people know if you want to play. And look, this could be a game of chess, not checkers. He wants to see what the NFL is going to do here. And maybe he's waiting for a formal apology here. But that's why when you go, well, do you think he's going to play? I have no idea. I don't know if he can play after being out 3 years and who's going to give him a chance. And how much he's going to play even if he does come back. And if that's what he wants. I don't know. I have no clue. Yeah, for two.
It is a little humorous if teams use the excuse, well, you haven't played in 3-4 years, when you're the very reason why he hasn't been able to play.
Yeah. I think the commissioner wants to be on the right side of this to say, hey, I gave him every chance and I was for it because they, these same people who stood in his way now are all of a sudden going to welcome him. I don't see that happening. I don't. It's tricky. But, Cam, I can see if you try to handicap that and say, well, where could he go? Who would bring in Cam Newton and let him, try to be the starting quarterback? Because there's no way Cam Newton is going to come in and be starting quarterback. No way. Paulie keeps saying, that Monday Night Football booth, nothing's been announced. Maybe you could have Cam in there. Maybe. But I don't know if he would be good in that role. The name is big, but there are certain guys who are better in studio and certain guys who are better with live action. I don't know if Cam even wants to do that. Yeah, Todd.
It's also hard to wear those headphones with those fancy hats that Cam Newton likes to wear. That would be a little difficult. He's got to get a special headset for that.
Thank you, Todd. He's got a scarf that he wears. Yes, McLovin.
Is it as simple as Cam waiting for an injury?
Well, that's what I thought it was going to be. But when you're going to have an injury, anytime, during training camp or it's going to be during the season. And you look at the video with Cam, and he's putting this out there because he can't visit these teams. And I think people viewed that differently and said, oh, look at Cam. He wants to be a social media star. No, Cam wants to let you see him throw, move, just like Tua Tagovailoa did. It's no different. Tua wanted you to draft him. Cam Newton wants you to sign him. It's the same thing. Yeah, Paul.
Remember, I think it was the 2015 training camp. Teddy Bridgewater hurt his knee. He was a good young quarterback for the Vikings, and they were desperate, the Vikings. They had a good team, and then they overpaid for Sam Bradford. They traded to the Eagles to get Sam Bradford, and I think they gave up a first-round pick.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think that's the Cam situation. If a contending team or a contending-ish team loses their quarterback in August, then he'll have bargaining power. They won't say, hey, here's a league minimum.
And that's why the Patriots would be a great place for Cam Newton. I don't know. I don't know what Belichick is hoping to accomplish with Jarrett Stidham, that he couldn't do that, but he could do that with Cam Newton. I don't know if his offense suits Cam Newton. I don't know if Cam would come in and say, hey, I have to compete with Jarrett Stidham. I'm the best quarterback to ever play at Auburn. I don't know. But it feels like Cam is, and rightfully so, like Cam is a star. Cam wants to start. Yeah, McLevin.
I mean, remember there was a rumor Kyler Murray, he'd be the backup to Kyler Murray. It's just I keep saying the visual of him in camp throwing bombs all over the field is just going to be too hard for a team to deal with. Like, he's so much more better arm than these guys. He has a big arm,
But
right?
if he comes into the Chargers, like if they brought him in, then I would question, well, why were you drafting Justin Herbert? Because Cam could come in and start for them. And now they may love Tyrod Taylor, and that's fine. Because you're going to have him there for one more year as your starter, maybe. By the way, I saw where Tua, is it his therapist? Whoever was working him out or, looking at him says...
Physical therapist.
Physical therapist?
Yeah.
I don't want to say like therapist. He needs help. His physical therapist talked about how great he looks. It would be news to me if the physical therapist said, he's just not rounding into shape. It's like Trent Dilfer was working out Tua, getting paid by Tua, and he said, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And I went, wait, come on, it's slow, easy here. Oh, he's got to start right away week 1. Okay. If the former physical therapist said, it's not going that well, then you got my attention here. Man, he's looking like a Hall of Famer. Oh, you get paid to work him out, don't you? Yeah, but he's looking like a Hall of Famer. Maybe he is. I hope he is. I really liked the kid. But I'm going to reserve judgment just a little while longer here. Yeah, McLevin.
So, like, if Alex Guerrero says Tom Brady looks great in Tampa Bay, his famous trainer,
Yeah.
not going to do much for you?
No, I'm going to probably need the eye test there.
Overhead footage of Brady working out?
Yeah, he looks so sharp. All right, we'll take a break. Last call for phone calls, what we learned, what's in store tomorrow. We'll take a break. Back after this. Did you keep all of the tapes, your appearances on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson? Do you have the archives of those appearances?
A lot of the stuff is on adhesive tape, so it's kind of hard to hear. but no, I didn't keep any of that stuff. I had such a good time with Johnny all the time. I never did anything on that show, Dan, to promote anything. I won on one particular show. I was doing that Mr. Belvedere series, and I was going to sing. I was going to change my MO from a writer to a singer. And I sang on The Tonight Show, and I sang off key really bad. So Johnny asked me, he said, when is this show going to play? And I said, Thursday. He said, Thursday, bowling. But then I blamed it on Doc Severance and that we didn't have a chance to work out together. But, no, I had a good time with Johnny all the time. I mean, I really did. He was great to me.
But first time you go on, I don't know if you get nervous or not. I don't know if going to the plate, facing Sandy Koufax is more nerve-wracking than, going on The Tonight Show. But if you were going to compare the two, how nervous were you going on The Tonight Show first time?
The first time I did it was 1969, and they were still in New York. And I was a little uptight about it, but it went pretty well. And as we said goodnight, I heard Johnny ask Ed McMahon. He said, "Did this guy really play baseball?" Ed said, "I think so." So I went back 2 weeks later, and from there on, I used to do 4 or 5 shows a year, and always had a good time with him. Always.
But then you get Mr. Belvedere, you get the Miller Lite commercials as well. I mean, it all just like there was a time when you and John Madden and maybe Cosell in there. You guys were at the peak there.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I didn't do anything to promote myself. I was doing things to have a good time. When I was playing baseball, my salary was $2,000 under the minimum, which when the union found out about it, they were a little upset about it. But that was no big deal either. I had a winter job. We all did for the most part when you're playing back in the 50s and 60s, we had off-season jobs. And you had to have it because you weren't making enough money unless you were one of the big guys.
What was your worst off-season job?
I worked construction outside all winter long, and that was kind of tough. I was working on frozen pipes from lavatories and senior citizens' homes, and that got to be a little testy. I mean, your hands are always cold. You know, I can't touch yourself either. So, I mean, to wash your face, your hands are freezing. I mean, it's tough. It was a tough job. But I had 4 kids, and I still don't know where they are. But no, I always had a good time, man. When I got a chance to play, I played, and I played the big leagues, but I also like to make people laugh.
And he would get on the Tonight Show, and he just had this unbelievable delivery that Johnny just ate up. Johnny Carson would he would set up Uke, and Uke would just go. But at the time, that was the biggest stage you could have, late night TV. By far, you were famous overnight. All you wanted to do was you wanted one shot at the Tonight Show. But he had a great run there where you do 4 times a year. And whenever he came on, it was always must-see TV because he just would tell these stories, and he was so self-deprecating because most people get on and talk about how great they are. His greatness was to talk about how bad he was and then have a sense of humor. Yeah, Fritzy.
And he was so quick on his feet, well, like a lot of comedians are. Like just now when he made that pitcher joke, just, it's not prepared material. He can just jump off of anything that's said that he's not prepared for and just come up with like a winning line right away.
Yeah, he's a treasure. The whole
Okay,
family.
so our winner is Nick in Ohio. Nick in Ohio, congratulations. Figured out 33 and 78. Number 33 is, first the clues, what the buck, he's heading to L.A. What the buck, he's heading to L.A. The clue, on this date in 1975, Bucks trade number 33, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Walt Wesley to L.A. for 4 players. 78 went off the board a little bit with some pop culture, not sports related. On this date in 1978, Summer Nights. The movie Grease makes its debut in 1978 on this date. So there you go. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar traded from the Bucks to the Lakers, 33. 78 on this date, 1978. Grease is the word that you heard. Booyah.
This day in sports history, last call for phone calls, what we learned, what's in store tomorrow. Let's do this day in sports history, Paulie.
Thank you, Dan. I got a bunch of them and a little sports history quiz for you that I think you'll both get. And like 1883, the New York Giants baseball team admitted all ladies for free into the ballpark. It was first Ladies' Day. Ladies' Choice.
Okay.
1970, Brian Piccolo, running back of the Bears, died of cancer. Remember the movie Brian song? 1975, the Milwaukee Bucks traded Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to the Lakers.
That was Dave Myers, Marcus Johnson. Was Junior Bridgman in that? Do they have the trade in there? And maybe a couple of first-round picks?
Checking.
All right. What else?
1981, the Chicago Tribune Company purchased the Chicago Cubs baseball team from the Wrigley Company for $20 million.
Seemed like a good investment.
Yeah, now it's worth about $4 billion. Here's the quiz. 1993, Michael Jordan of the Bulls scored 55 points in an NBA Finals game against the Phoenix Suns. Jordan became the first player to score 50 points in an NBA Finals game since blank in 1969.
I was going to say Jerry West.
That would be correct, Dan.
Okay.
And back to the trade for Kareem.
Yes, Todd.
In 1975, the Lakers acquired Kareem and reserve center Walt Wesley from the Bucks for Elmore Smith, Brian Winters, rookie blue chippers Dave Myers, and, as you said, Junior Bridgman.
Okay.
That was the deal.
Yeah. Let me see. Might be too soon to say who won that deal. Yes, McLovin.
Was Brian Winters that guy with the sweet beard?
He had a great shot, deep shot. I think he was out of South Carolina.
And Junior Bridgman's a multi-millionaire. He's a very well-respected entrepreneur.
I think he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Fast food. He owns a lot of fast food.
Yeah,
All comes full circle.
Yeah, Junior Bridgman. I think he might be a billionaire from He's got a lot of money, let's put it that way, invested in fast food. Junior Bridgman, I think, out of Louisville. Who else was in there? Dave Myers went to UCLA.
Elmore Smith, a big star, right? Or no?
No, not a big star.
Who am I thinking of? Wasn't there an Elmore center that was a big Maryland? Len Elmore.
Len Elmore.
Yes, that's not Elmore Smith.
He was more of a name in college than he was the pros. Len Elmore. All right, Kennedy in Louisville joining us. Hi, Kennedy. What do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Nice shout out to Junior, our guy, our Louisville
Junior
guy.
Bridgman, yeah.
Bridgman, thank you. Wanted to give you a quick reason why I think you should have the Danettes at your Hall of Fame induction.
Okay.
I think it will really show your greatness. I think it reminds me of LeBron's 2007 run. Really, when you see the group that he has behind him, that's what really shows the greatness. So I think that would really help your case with obviously your group behind you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kennedy. I look good because you guys don't? Is that what Kennedy is saying?
Pretty much. That was cold.
But Kennedy said it, not
I know.
me.
But that's exactly what he was referring to.
You guys are all invited to go. I never said you couldn't go. Yeah, Paulie.
Never mind.
I'll tell you after the show. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, but you guys are all invited if you want to.
I wouldn't miss it for the world, boss. I'll be there.
Thank you. I don't even know when it is next year.
Doesn't matter.
Thank you.
It's not on a Saturday. There's a lot of college football. I mean, there's a ton
It's
of
all
college.
about
No,
you.
it's in June.
Oh,
It's about you.
Thank you. Yes, McLovin.
And don't forget, we got to collect our hardware for the Sports Emmys, undoubtedly.
When do we find out when we won the Sports Emmys?
I thought, Paul, you said the end of September?
TBD, but they said fall. There will be some type of ceremony, either in person, open bar, or virtual.
I would do virtual with an open bar here.
I think they want people to be there, and I think they're waiting.
Well, isn't that award handed out? Like that's the second award, and then we get it out of the way.
It's in the first 4 awards. Best daily studio show.
And I know that when I was up for the studio host, it was always like the last one of the night. And I had to sit there out of respect to Bob Costas and wait to make it official that Bob won another Sports Emmy. Yes, McClellan.
Still a little dubious. A-Rod was the presenter first
I
year.
know.
Did he, I'd like to see that. Was there a La La Land situation?
See, that's what I'm thinking, that he may have read it incorrectly. Or maybe he saw it and chose to say, there's no way I'm going to say Dan Patrick. Yeah, Paulie.
This year we're up against The Jump, MLB Tonight,
Rachel Nichols,
Outside the Lines, and Pardon the Interruption.
Yeah. I mean, it's always, those are the best. I mean, these are best daily sports shows, and that's high praise there. Yes.
I think Outside the Lines and PTI split. They split votes, and that's where we right through.
We lost to MLB Tonight. Man, I was mad. I was mad. We had a good year that year.
We did. That was the year.
Yeah. Who did we lose? We lost to Pardon the Interruption the other year.
Which, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the great sports shows of all time.
Yeah, best half-hour shows on TV.
Yeah, they only do a half hour.
A great 30
and
minutes.
it's not even live. It's taped.
22 minutes.
A great taped 22 minutes.
Yeah.
That said, they're awesome.
No, it's a good show.
Look, it's this 3-hour tightrope.
Live. And I have to work with you guys, according to Kennedy in Louisville.
We get compared to Outside the Lines all the time. The two shows are very similar.
The lines are blurred. Outside the lines are blurred. Todd, what did you learn on today's program?
Mark Ray stayed away from steroids because they could affect your get up and go while being a single man playing in Chicago.
McLovin?
I made a bet with J.C. Treader about Cornell Dartmouth November 14th.
Seton O'Connor.
Yeah, we can add the Cornell Alumni Association to the list of people mad at Andrew now.
Paulie?
Mark Ray should be in some type of Hall of Fame.
What we learned brought to you by Raycon. Wireless earbuds, the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. Old Gracie's in a Hall of Fame. Off the field. Talk to you tomorrow.